We'll start the show in just a couple of minutes. I tell you, don't we have the smartest president ever? Don't we? Really? President Trump is so smart. He is. He knows how to play these idiots. Yeah, I can't believe it's Thursday already. Yeah, I can't believe it's Thursday. Just doing a sound check. Okay. Now remember, guys, to see and hear all the audio sound bites I play, you've got to go to my main stream, which is linked in the description. And, you know, you guys, when that comes up during the stream, when people ask about that, if you could let them know, I'd appreciate it. Here we go. All right. 1 week to Christmas. I can't believe it. Okay, here we go. Welcome to the Brian Craig Show. My name is Brian Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. Oh, man. Do we not have the smartest president ever? President Trump played the entire media with his speech last night like no one's business. You know, he had announced a couple of days ago that they were going to have this, he was going to have this White House address to the nation Wednesday night at 9 p.m., and then they leaked out to untrustworthy people like Tucker Carlson that he was going to announce that we were at war with Venezuela. And then what the president did was come out and go through all of his great economic accomplishments. And if you watch the analysis on the cable news last night, that early analysis, these people didn't even know what had happened, how they had been played, and what game Trump was playing. So I'm going to cover that a lot here in the beginning, and I'm also going to go through the president's address to the nation as the show goes on, too. If you'd like to call in or have any thoughts on this, the number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. We're a little whiles away from the radio show starting, so I got a little time here before the radio show goes live. But every network carried the president's speech. Not just the cable news, ABC, NBC, and CBS all carried the president's speech in prime time, right? And when you were watching the analysis afterwards, which is a lot of what you're seeing early this morning online on social media, you hear people say, these regular pundits that do analysis of the news and of Trump, well, we've heard all these things before. I don't understand why do this. They didn't even realize that he had gotten himself on every broadcast network in America because they thought that he was going to be declaring war. And those are people that don't follow, you know, people that are watching the networks. Plus, there was a lot of buzz because, oh, well, you know, the blockade around Venezuela. You know, I thought that's what it was going to be, too. And I know most of you did, too. Although a couple of days ago, Caroline Leavitt did say it was going to be about economic policy. If you remember, it was an outside little, what are those, what do they call those things, gaggles that she did with the press? And she said it was going to be about the economy. But I thought he was going to be telling us we were at war with Venezuela. And he didn't even mention Venezuela. You know, those are people, the people that were, first off, there was just a lot of buzz which would get people to be interested in the president's speech who otherwise wouldn't be because they thought there was going to be a war announcement. And they heard all this economic data. And also because it was on all the broadcast networks, ABC, NBC, and CBS, those are people that don't follow news and politics. So you and I may have heard all these things before, but their regular audiences haven't. So while the fake news media have spent the last few months telling everyone that there's an economic problem, that prices are up, there's an affordability crisis, and all that BS, Trump manipulated all of them so that he could show that there is no affordability crisis, it's a myth, and everything's going well. So I'm going to open with that when we get on the radio in a few minutes and take your calls. And what I'm going to do in the beginning of the stream today, during the first few radio station breaks, I'm going to play the speech as much as I can during those breaks until we get through it so we can comment on it. And it was a beautiful thing. So another thing I'm going to throw out there to you guys, and no one has said it this way, but I'm going to ask this question when the radio show starts today, but I'm going to ask you guys now. You get a little preview to what's going to happen on the radio. And this is about Dan Bongino. Did Dan Bongino quit, or was he fired? And they're letting him save face. Did Dan Bongino quit, or was he fired? I'm going to go through that in a little bit too when the radio show starts, because I'm thinking he was fired by the president, and the president gave him the Christmas gift of looking as if he moved on his own. Okay, hold on. And I'll tell you what I mean by that in a minute. You know, when the show starts. But yeah, did Dan Bongino quit, or was he fired by the president? And I think he was fired by the president. Yeah, I do. So we got a lot to cover. And if you're new, my name is Brian. I host a morning radio show. And I'm waiting for Mike at the radio station to tell us when the radio show is going to be. What time we come on exactly at the top of the radio show depends on the commercials that are scheduled during the top of the hour break, right? They are, because commercials are at various lengths. That's why. So I don't know exactly what time we're going to come on in a couple of minutes. And then when we do, I'm going to go through all of it. But I'm going to start with how Trump did this psyop on the media yesterday, which was beautiful with the speech last night. I mean, how many of you thought it was going to be a war announcement? And it did seem a little out of character because President Trump is not only an anti-war guy, he has been his whole life, even back in the days of the war in Vietnam. Yeah, I know, it's great. So that's what I'm going to be opening with today. I am behind on my coffee. I had a very long day yesterday. My wife and I had to go to Miami Beach yesterday. And usually the drive from Miami Beach to our house is less than an hour. But it took us about 2.5 to 3 hours last night because we got tied up down there very late in the day. And we got bogged down in the Miami traffic. And there's a major construction project on I-95 in Miami that's just a nightmare. So I was up for about 20 hours, very little sleep last night. Okay. Well, you know what? I got some time. Let me take a call. I'm waiting for Mike. Mike's running a couple minutes late. He should be arriving at the radio station like about now. So he'll text me when he's ready to switch over. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm John from Martin County.
Hey, John in Martin County. What's on your mind?
Hey, listen, your radio feed's not working. Just
I know.
To give you a heads up.
I know. Mike, the board op, is running a couple minutes late. So what are you hearing on the air, on the radio?
Nothing.
It's dead air?
Yeah, dead air.
Oh my goodness, that's the worst. All right, take care. But don't worry, Mike will take care of it. He told me he should be arriving like right now. That happens sometimes. What can you do? But we don't have dead air here, which is good. You know, and I point this out. This is the only. Let me take another call while we're waiting. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Really? Come on. You don't have any material? Take care. All right. I don't mind trolls and cranks, but have some material. But this is, this radio show, it's really a cool thing. And I'm glad people do this. Whenever there's a technical issue, all radio stations have technical issues, okay? All of them. And this is whatever radio station that I've been on, Steve Kane and I, whenever there's a technical problem with the radio station, we always get calls from people that let us know. And that is so unusual. I don't know any other radio show where that happens. And sometimes people tell me, why do you let people on the air telling you there's a tech? And I said, hey, and this is what, because everybody knows radio stations, sometimes they'll go off the air, there'll be a technical issue, a power issue, a connectivity issue, a problem with the transmitter. And what I say to them when my friends say, why do you let people on the air who tell you that there's some technical issue or you're off the air or something? And I said, well, do you ever get calls like that? And they say no. And I said, well, our listeners care enough to take note, and they're concerned when these things happen. So I think that's a pretty good thing. Okay, hold on. Stand by. I'm waiting to hear from Mike. Okay, he's not quite there yet. Well, let me play the beginning of President Trump, and I'm gonna go through during the breaks in the early part of the show the entire speech. It's less than 20 minutes long in its entirety, so it might take me the first hour or two of the show to get through it. But during the radio station commercial breaks, I'm gonna play the speech until we get through it. But here's the beginning of it now. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. Wow. No, they're not. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Okay, I just heard from Mike. We're going to be on the radio show is going to start in 30 seconds. So, and then we're going to go till the bottom. So, if you're new, welcome. Make sure you subscribe. This is absolutely beautiful and amazing. If you'd like to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. I mean, look at this. Every network carried him. Here we go. 15 seconds. This guy's so brilliant, President Trump. Oh my goodness. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. That's right, celebrating 49 years on the radio. Welcome, one and all. Holy smokes. President Trump is so brilliant. You know, towards the end of yesterday's show, we were talking about, and I think this is what led to what happened last night. We were talking about the disaster of Susie Wiles and the Vanity Fair interview. Well, you and I just found out about that yesterday and the day before, but Trump's known about it for a little while. And this speech last night that President Trump had, it was an address to the nation at 9 p.m. He trolled the entire media. With the blockade around Venezuela, which is a real thing. The largest blockade in the history of the Western Hemisphere is right now much bigger than the Cuban Missile Crisis blockade of Cuba. And taking out of the drug boats. Apparently, we took out another one yesterday. Pretty awesome. Everyone in the media assumed that President Trump was going to announce that we were at war. And then the Trump White House even leaked out to untrustworthy members of the media that that's what was going to happen. Here's Tucker Carlson yesterday. Well, and Tucker, that went viral with Tucker Carlson yesterday. So he made a complete President Trump made a complete fool out of everyone in the media and Tucker Carlson. And you know the thing with this speech last night, if you watch the analysis, isn't he just, you gotta love President Trump. How can you not love this man? He's so smart. You know, all these people that think they're so media savvy and all these influencers all over the place telling you how to become an influencer. There's never been an influencer in this land or on this planet like President Donald Trump. So if you want this complete psyop he did, if you watch the analysis from the pundits afterwards, the people that give analysis on all the cable news after every time Trump speaks, all of the pundits said, well, there's nothing new here. We know all this economic data. We know all this economic data. Why did he do this? There's nothing new here. Well, you know, the media have, I'll tell you what happened and what was new. And it was all new. And I'll explain what I mean by that. And if you're on hold, stand by. We got, and there's something else I'm going to bring up too here in this segment when I get through this. President Trump's speech wasn't just carried on cable news in prime time at 9 o'clock. It was carried on all of the broadcast networks coast to coast, from sea to shining sea, from Guam and Honolulu, Hawaii, and Nome, Alaska, to Key West and the Virgin Islands and everywhere in between. ABC, NBC, and CBS all carried his speech, which was an economic speech going through his accomplishments of what's less than his first year, 10, 11 months in office, and his economic accomplishments in this time, where we were, where we are. And the media have been lying with this made-up myth, excuse me, of I'm all choked up by the brilliance of Trump. No, my coffee went down the wrong. Hold on, let me have more coffee to wash down what went down the wrong way. The media have been lying about this thing, and they created this myth called the affordability crisis. The affordability crisis is as real as climate change, global warming, and the rising sea levels. It's total made-up crap. And so when this went live, and we had 2 days, really, 2 full days, yesterday and the day before, 2 full days of promotion of this address to the nation. And then the blockade was announced the night before last around Venezuela, and everybody assumed war. Millions of people that would normally not watch a speech like this at 9 o'clock at night tuned in, but people that are watching broadcast network television, or people that were going back to broadcast network television that may not watch it anymore, went and watched it. And for them, everything President Trump said was new because they do not follow news and politics. So they don't know what's going on. It's like me. You know, you hear Steve Kane, when we talk about all the great food at Wings Plus, Steve's talking about the playoff games. I don't know who's in the playoffs. I don't know who's out. I know who's in the Super Bowl, when the Super Bowl is going to happen. Because I don't follow sports. I don't care about sports. I'm concerned about things that are important, like saving Western civilization and supporting President Trump's efforts to do so. And, that's how most people are when it comes to news and politics. And everything that President Trump shared in his address to the nation last night was new to those people, and he tricked the networks into carrying it on the broadcast networks ABC, NBC, and CBS. So millions of people watched this last night, and it was all new to them. This was such a brilliant move, and I'll tell you how this happened and why it happened. President Trump, I was telling you yesterday, because I was pretty upset with Susie Wiles for the Vanity Fair. The Vanity Fair interview isn't what upset me. It was the photographs. That really pissed me off, okay, what they did to them with the photographs. And I was telling you how Susie Wiles made this was just a bad decision, and President Trump had nothing to do with that, I promise you, because he is so media savvy. President Trump, before he was even in politics, he knew how to do media PR and media manipulation. He may be the first influencer because he created this brand out of his real estate empire in New York City. So he knows how media works like no one ever has that's been in politics or the presidency in particular. And he would never allow something like this vanity piece thing to happen. And he knew what they did before we did. And I promise you he was not happy with it. But he says, you know what? We're gonna show him who the boss is. And President Trump came up with this entire media manipulation to get on every cable news network live. He probably didn't expect to get on the broadcast networks. That was just the cherry on top of the cake here. He got on all the broadcast networks too, ABC, NBC, and CBS Live, and shared his entire first-year accomplishments. This speech will go down in history as one of the greatest presidential moments in history. I'm telling you, this was right up there with George Bush with the fireman and the bullhorn at Ground Zero. All right, there has never been a psyop, troll op, media manipulation by a president of the United States like President Trump did last night with this address. I am blown the freak away by it, and it's amazing. And now last night the pundits didn't know what happened, so they were all sitting around saying, "I don't understand. There was nothing new here." Well, but now they know. And what I'm sharing with you, I think, is so obvious. This is probably going to be the discussion for most everyone today on if they have half a brain cell, on how President Trump manipulated all of them. So I'm going to go through the speech as the show goes on today. But there's something else I want to bring up before we get back into that. And by the way, your calls are welcome on this at 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are tuned in from. And of course, this is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. This is so brilliantly good. It is just, you know, we are so blessed and so lucky to have this guy as president of the United States. I really don't think people realize. Okay, now here's the other thing I want to ask you. Okay, and this is about Dan Bongino. It was announced yesterday. It's official. I told you this like 6 months ago, and I talked about it earlier in the week. But it was officially announced yesterday that Dan Bongino is quit. President Trump was asked about it. He says, I think he wants to go back to his show. I have a question about this with Dan Bongino. And this serious question. Did Dan Bongino quit, or was Dan Bongino fired by the president, and the president gave him the Christmas gift of allowing him to give the appearance that he resigned to get back to his program? Was Dan Bongino fired, or did he quit? And if you remember a couple months back when there was that big blow up that was reported that Bongino had with Susie Wiles and Pam Bondi, and then he didn't come into work for a couple of days. Remember that? And we didn't see him for months after that. It seemed like months. Maybe it was just weeks, but we didn't see him. He was at the Charlie Kirk Memorial, and then the only time we saw him was with the pipe bomber case, and he came out and was there. I think Dan Bongino was fired. I think President Trump, when Dan Bongino went public with his spat with Susie Wiles and Pam Bondi, and I think that pissed off President Trump. They brought in, remember, this other deputy director, this Bailey guy, who's going to officially replace Dan Bongino. There's only one deputy director of the FBI, but weeks ago they announced that they had this new deputy director. And I think Bongino was fired. I think that he's being allowed to save face by President Trump. And maybe in exchange for him allowing him to save face, Dan Bongino's not going to go out there and turn into a Marjorie Taylor Greene and start bashing the Trump administration and the president. But I could be wrong. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Did Dan Bongino quit, or was he fired? I think he was fired, and they're allowing him to look like it was his decision. So your thoughts on all of these things are most definitely welcome on the program. Now, I want to tell you guys about Mike Lindell, who is right, the next governor of Minnesota. He is running for governor of Minnesota, and there's never been a better time than this for him to run for governor of Minnesota, because Tim Walz is so up to his eyeballs in all this Somali corruption. In fact, there's calls from the Trump administration for Tim Walz to resign. The Treasury Department is doing an investigation into Tim Walz and all this corruption, and the time is perfect for the great Mike Lindell, the inventor of the MyPillow, to just rid Minnesota of Tim Walz and waltz in and become the next governor. Now, if you go to MyPillow.com, there's incredible deals going on for Christmas. Right now, you can save 50% off the MyPillow towel sets. And, you know, the MyPillow towels, and there's other huge savings for the Christmas special. You know, I love the MyPillow towels. Of course, I use them every day when I take a shower, but oftentimes I spill things. 2 or 3 times this week, I've spilled coffee all over my desk, and I've got a guest bathroom right outside my where my office and studio are at home, And when I spill coffee, I go in there and I grab the MyPillow towel, and it's better than a Bounty paper towel. It absorbs. You know, Mike Lindell says towels that actually work. What a concept! If you've seen that commercial, and when I heard him say that, I didn't quite understand what he meant by that until I got them and started using them. And you'll see. You know, other towels, when you dry off, and you may not be aware of this, but after you use the MyPillow towels, once you try a MyPillow towel, you'll never go back to the regular towels. All the other towels, they don't absorb the water. They just spread it around on your body. They do. The MyPillow towels, you dries off your entire body. They work. You can get the 6-piece MyPillow towel set for 50% off with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane at mypillow.com. The 100% Giza cotton dream sheets made of the finest cotton in the world. I have these as well. You can save over 50% on those. Save over 50% on the premium MyPillows. The MyPillow slippers, just $39.98. The MyPillow mattress toppers, huge discounts on those. I have all these products, by the way. Yeah, and there's many other huge specials going on site-wide. Whatever the special is at mypillow.com, you can take advantage of it with my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. All right, we're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll go to the phones when we get back. The number's toll-free, 888-465-2631. And I'd like your thoughts on both things. The PSYOP media manipulation that the president pulled last night on the entire media, all the fake news media, with the speech. And did Dan Bongino really quit? Or was he fired after that public spat he had with Susie Wiles and Pam Bondi? The number is toll-free no matter where you're listening, 888-465-2631. We'll be right back. Now, during the breaks, until we get through it, I'm going to continue to go through the president's speech. It was so good. So I started it right at the top. So let's get back to it. That's right. Okay, so we'll be back in about 30 seconds or so. So I'm going to continue during the breaks until we get through it, play the president's speeches. the speech yesterday. It's less than 20 minutes, and we already are a chunk through it. It's very good, and basically he went through this thing. The affordability crisis is a lie, and he's explaining to everybody on every television in America that it's not true. This was just amazing. All right. If you're on hold, stand by. I'm going to go to the phones when we get back. We're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Doc from Texas.
Hey, Texas. What's on your mind?
Hey, I want to apologize. First of all, I want to apologize to you. I had to cut you off yesterday because my mom had called me and I had to answer her phone call.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, I watched Trump's speech last night. I don't know why he made that speech last night because he really didn't say anything of substance. And
okay, now stop right there. Stop right there. See, this is the. Okay. I'm talking to the audience, not you right now. I'm talking to the audience about you. Okay, this is the talking point. There was nothing new. There was no substance. What was this about? Do you have any thoughts that are your own and not some regurgitated polly-wanna-cracker plagiarism of some liberal somewhere that you're regurgitating? I want to hear what you think, not ChatGPT.
No, I want to know what you think, not what Trump thinks, because I can think for myself. I don't need nobody. I can think for myself.
I can tell, yeah.
I can think for myself.
I didn't say you could not think. I just said that in this, you're regurgitating the talking point.
You know what, Brian? I'm gonna say this to you. That's just like yesterday. They was talking about those plaques he did at the White House.
Oh,
yesterday.
I love the plaques.
That was childish. That was childish,
what,
Brian. That was
what do you
childish.
Mean? You're talking about the true history?
That was childish.
The true history
that
of the
childish.
of
Brian, that was
the
not
presidency?
the true history. Brian, that was childish. And you can say whatever you want to say. That was childish, bro.
Mm-hmm. Those were awesome.
And if any one of your listeners, I'm worried. Like, you know what? That was childish, and we could agree. We could agree or disagree.
President Trump went through in his speech last night many of the great economic gains, including gas prices under $2.
They fact check. That's not true, Brian.
Who's they?
They fact checked them.
Who fact checked what?
You know, Brian. And they like I was listening this morning. I'm not like you. I listen to all news sources.
Of course, I do too.
This morning. No, you don't. You listen to Trump. What Trump tell you? If you could go outside, Trump tell you it's sunshine. It could be rainy.
No, I was watching when I got up this morning analysis on CNN and MSNBC about this. It's hilarious. And listening to you, it's like I might as well. It's like listening to Rachel Maddow listening to you.
You know what? I mean, I listen to Rachel Maddow. I listen to you. See, I'm the type of person. You see, and that is like CNN said this morning. That was he had some truths too, but a lot of it was not true.
What did he say that was not true?
But it's too much. I'm not gonna go through it to you.
Pick the biggest lie that President Trump told.
Gas prices.
What about them?
Gas prices is not
true. What about them?
Gas prices are not there. You know, they said the average gas price is $3-something now.
No.
The average gas price.
If you go, hold on. I'm glad you brought that up. Hold on. Don't all of a sudden tell me you're busy and gotta go, because I got this.
You think I was lying to you yesterday? About my mom call?
No.
So bring it on. You don't want to hang up on me every time.
So
you hang up on me every time.
You're trying to get hung up on now by being rude.
You hang up. Go ahead, say what you got to say, man.
The president said gas prices are under $2 all over the country. They're actually below that in a bunch of states: Colorado, Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, South Dakota. According to Gas Buddy, you can get gas right now for $1.78 a gallon at multiple gas stations in Colorado. $1.78,
That's Colorado, Brian. That's not all over the country. That's Colorado.
Okay, Kansas. According to Gas Buddies, you can get gas.
Kansas.
Okay.
It's not all over the country.
Okay.
In my state,
Missouri.
I paid $2.69 yesterday.
You're in Texas? Oh, you're in Texas? Okay. In Texas, you can get gas as low as $1.89 a gallon in Houston.
Where?
At
Where?
Market and Beamer gas station in Houston, Texas, $1.89
I
a
paid
gallon.
$2.69 yesterday.
Well, go to
I paid
Gas Buddy.
$2.69 yesterday.
This is according to Gas Buddy in Texas, where you are. It's $1.89 a gallon at Marker and Beamer in Houston. Are you in Houston?
No.
Okay.
I'm in Arch.
I don't know where that is. Do you know where Katy, Texas is? Katy?
Yep, I was in there. That's my auntie lives in Katy.
Oh, okay. Well, where your aunt lives in Katy, you can get gas at Texaco and other gas stations for $1.89 a gallon in Katy, Texas.
Well, you know what, Brian? Okay, it's not all over the country. So
what do you mean it's not over the country? Colorado, Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma. You said it's in Texas where you are, South Dakota.
Brian, it's not all over the country. He's lying
Oh my
so much,
goodness.
Brian.
All right, appreciate the call. I mean, my goodness. Once I've filleted the fish, I got to move on. Okay, you don't want to fillet after you fillet. I am very good at filleting. Am I not? Okay, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. It's Jocelyn out of California.
Hey.
Hey, so that speech last night, that was absolutely incredible. I cannot believe how anybody that you cannot count him out. And in regards to Susie, she needs to go. She needs to go.
Well, you know what? Before we slow down for a second, I'll let you get to it. I got plenty of time. Don't worry. That speech last night, that Now, I agree with you. I'm not happy, especially with the photographs. Okay, the photographs really pissed me off. But this media manipulation that President Trump did, where he got his economic agenda on all the broadcast networks and everything, that's huge psyop. That happened because of Susie Wiles' screw up with Vanity Fair. So Susie Wiles indirectly did us a great service here. The speech would not have had... Trump did this speech to stick it to the media after the Vanity Fair hit piece. He knew about it before it came out. So I think Susie Wiles has redeemed herself.
But first of all, I think you said this, I said this. First of all, Trump has an amazing way to be able to turn crap into a smorgasbord. I mean, he's able to do it, and he took that mistake and made it into something fantastic.
Yeah.
But this is my point. I'm having arguments with family members who are not big fans of Trump, unfortunately. But the fact of the matter is that she described him as having alcoholic type of behaviors. And everybody knows that he doesn't drink, but they start going off on what
President Trump has said that about himself. Its context is everything. President Trump has said that. But here's the thing. Here's the thing, okay? What I just told you. What happened last night was the biggest media manipulation. Let me put you on hold while I answer all these calls that are coming in, okay? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. What happened last night was the biggest media manipulation that any president of the United States has ever done. If Susie Wiles wouldn't have screwed up with that Vanity Fair interview, that wouldn't have happened. So I think it cancels out her screw up.
Well, I completely get what you're saying, but she seems to be, like, her name seems to be brought up many times in regards to having issues with various members, whether it be Bongino or Elon or this, that, and the other. I don't know. I have a problem with somebody who has, loose lips and is obviously not savvy enough to talk to reporters, and that is a vulnerability. And, as you've always said, he's Trump. You can never count him out. He's going to find a way. Yeah. And he trolled basically every media outlet and also influencers who thought that they had a shoe-in in regards to whatever. The funny thing about it is that they don't know Trump. You do, because Trump does not telegraph what he does. He has always said that.
Yep.
He's not going to come on and make an announcement. He already has the Congress who said, fine, go do what you have to do. He's going to do it, but he's not going to telegraph anything. So, it's sad because people think that they know him, and obviously they don't know him. It was beautiful. I loved it.
And look at this. And look at this. Look at this. Okay. I mean, take the win, and he used it for two.
Totally.
And he did it for two things. Okay. One, it looked to me that he probably said to Susie Wiles, hey, don't do that again. Okay. And he was pissed off at Vanity Fair. So he's like, I'm going to show them. And it turned out better because the broadcast networks carried the speech where he got to go over all that. And he also, this is going to be the big story of today. And I do believe Dan Bongino was fired. And now that story is going to kind of fade away in the background because of this media manipulation that he did. This was such a brilliant thing. And it happened all because of Susie Wiles in the Vanity Fair piece.
I appreciate the fact that he ended up getting out the facts, because most of these outlets don't actually give that information.
Yes.
They give their biased spin on it. He gave it directly to them. He gave them facts, charts, proof, graphs, whatever you want to call it. And he gave it directly to those people. And, it is what it is. He's doing a great job, and he's fixing a complete and utter mess that was left before.
Yep.
That's the end of it.
That's right. All right. Well, hey, listen, appreciate the call. All right. Take care. Take care. If you're on hold, hang in there. The number's toll free, 888-465-2631. And, when President Trump, if you're on hold, hang in there. When President Trump went through all these things yesterday, you got to understand, for most people, that was all new information for them. All right? All new information. Let's see here. What time is it? All right. You know what? Well, let me take another call, then we'll break. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, hi, good morning, Brian. This is Danielle calling from Michigan.
Hey, Danielle.
And hello, just a couple comments. What an awesome, strong speech last night. I was very happy.
Oh, yes.
But just two comments. Yeah, it was awesome. Two comments on a couple callers you had. I'm in Michigan, and I just paid $2.62 for gas the other day, which is the lowest that I've paid in a long time. And also to the woman that wants Susie Wiles gone, the only place that Susie Wiles needs to go is back on the campaign trail with President Trump.
That's right.
And I'm over the photos because I know how beautiful these people are. So they can mess up the photos all they want.
I was very upset yesterday at the end of the show. And then when I saw what the president did last night, I want to shake Susie Wiles' hand and give her a hug. America's grandma. I mean,
awesome.
Because none of this would have happened without her. And look how he was able to fire Bongino, and that's not even going to be in the news now because of this speech, too, all at the same time.
Yeah, I'm not really surprised about the Bongino. I mean, I love Bongino. I'm sure he'll go back on his podcast. I don't really know what happened. I'm not totally surprised, but it is what it is. But Susie's going to be on the campaign trail.
Oh, yes.
She ain't going nowhere. And to the gentleman in Texas about the gas.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, come on. I mean, these people aren't just going to be able to see anything good. But at some point, I liked when
the guy from Texas says, "Yeah, but that's not where I'm at. That's Colorado. Where are you, Texas?" And I pull up. Not only do I pull up the Texas gas station prices, I pull up a gas station down the street from his aunt. And he still say, "Well, no." I mean, come on, admit that I got you.
It's crazy. Yeah, exactly. But everything, I loved it last night. It was great. And you know what? I tell you what, he could have maybe been a little bit more forceful. But they only gave him 20 minutes.
And he works 20 hours a day, too, for the last year.
And he works 20 hours a day. But I mean, I thought it was absolutely awesome. And I think it's going to reach some people that really are clueless, Brian, that people that don't listen to you, that don't listen to really know what's going on. People are going to be like, oh, maybe I better change my news station. Maybe I better find Brian Craig,
That's right.
Show.
That's right. Listen,
Wendy Bell, I love seeing you on Wendy Bell, Brian. You're so handsome. I love seeing you on Wendy Bell.
Thank you.
God bless.
You can tell. You can see me clean shaven and in a suit and tie. All right. Take care. Take care. Yes. Callers on hold. Hang in there. Listen, are you risking your retirement? Why are you doing that? You don't have to. Call Jupiter Joe Thomas. Talk to him about annuities. You know, with annuities, your money is never at risk, and you're guaranteed an income stream for the rest of your life. You know, I talked to one of our listeners the other day, and he's been retired for a long time. You know, people are living a long time now. The guy's been retired as long as I've been in the workforce almost. And his pension was great. It's a municipal pension. It was great back in 1990, whatever, right? Now it's not enough to live the life that he wants to live, and he's still living life pretty good. He met with Jupiter Joe Thomas, one of our listeners, took advantage of that no-charge consultation. Now he's in annuities, and he's living the life because he's got that extra income stream from the annuity coming in each and every month. Give Joe Thomas a call. Turn your money into guaranteed income for life. Make sure you ask him about the annuities that give you a 10% bonus on your money day one. Day one, right? So if you were to invest in a $50,000 annuity, you make $5,000 on day one. Wow, making 10% on day one. By the way, there are annuities much less than that. I just picked 50,000 because it's easy for me to do the math at 6:47 a.m. when I'm under caffeinated. Give Jupiter Joe Thomas a call. By the way, that no-charge consultation, of course, you can do in his office in Jupiter, but you can also do it by phone and Zoom if you want, no matter where you are, and Joe Thomas will put together a custom proposal for you. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And if you missed the number, just go to his website. It's the easiest website in the world to remember. JupiterJoe.com. That's JupiterJoe.com. We'll be right back. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. During the breaks, until we get through this, I'm going to continue to play the president's great speech. Ooh. Wow. I love it. All right. So we are coming back in about 10 seconds. Isn't that great? Oh, man, if you're on hold, stand by. Oh, I love it. Oh, man, what a brilliant move by President Trump last night. Totally psyop against the whole media. All right, back to the phones we go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Lisa in Tennessee.
Hey, Lisa, what's up?
Well, I just can't agree anymore with you and the caller just before the break. Wasn't she sweet? I
Yes.
mean, and I'll tell you, I'm no theologian or anything. I'm just going to paraphrase something from the Bible of, for those who believe, everything that happens to them will be, to the glory of God.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's happening here. And people who don't understand that this man is protected right now.
Oh, yes.
And those of us who pray for him, of course. But he is able to use everything to foil these Democrats and
Well, one
rhinos,
time,
and it's just,
I can't remember when this was, if it was during the first term or the Otto-Pin era, but Eric Trump, I heard once say, Eric Trump, and he said his father is at his best when he's down. And, they were aware of this Vanity Fair hit piece before any of us were. And I think President Trump saw it and wasn't pissed off at Susie Wiles. Okay? I think he was pissed off at Vanity Fair. And he says, you know what, Susie? Yeah. I'm going to address the nation on Wednesday night at 9 p.m. right after we have the blockade in place. And they're going to... I don't think he knew the broadcast networks would carry it. He must have been high-fiving when he saw that. But he said, we're going to stick it to these fake news people. They're going to mess with my chief of staff. What do they say? Yep. What is that saying about the bull and the horns? Don't mess with the bull, you'll get the horns. They got the horns last night. And, I mean, it's beautiful what he did.
Oh, absolutely beautiful. Marvelous. It's these people, it's just continual success. Continual annihilation of their pompous, pomposity that they have, that they think they're above.
Is that a real word, pomposity? I've never heard that. Is that a real word?
Well,
it should be. I like it.
I've made it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
There you
pomposity.
Go. There you go.
I'll ask Steve. Steve Kane has like a vocabulary like shit. Steve went to the same high school as President Kennedy. And Chevy Chase.
Kidding.
Yeah, no, went to the same high school as President Kennedy. Not at the same time, but so Steve went to this school with like the elites, so he's got a vocabulary like Shakespeare. So I'll ask him that. Pomposity. Wow. I like that. It should be a word.
Okay. It should be, and thanks so much. It's great listening to it on the commercials, in between his speech again. Thanks so much.
I appreciate it. Now, my favorite part is this anti-Semite Trump hater, Tucker Carlson, who was very glad to, after the announcement came out a couple days ago, they leaked to Tucker Carlson that President Trump was going to declare war, and Tucker Carlson went out online yesterday and sold it a little bit more in the afternoon. And I saw that. I was down at Miami Beach yesterday all day, and I saw that, and I was like, oh, this is what it's about. I thought it was going to be a war announcement too, didn't you? I thought for sure it was going to be a war announcement. And and Tucker Carlson, he did that extra little sell right on the eve of it, and boom, that's it. Oh, man. Now, by the way, I want to talk to our drivers that drive down to Miami. My wife has a doctor who's a specialist for her condition, and they're down in Miami, and we have to go down there from time to time. And I drove through the Golden Glades yesterday, which is, the Golden Glades is always been a mess, and they're upgrading it. It's under construction. I hope this doesn't take 5 more years. But holy smoke, what do you people do that have to drive to and from work every day through the Golden Glades? I went through the Golden Glades yesterday, at around between 11:30 and 12. I can't remember the exact time. Sometime maybe around a little bit before noon yesterday, the Golden Glade southbound, right? Going down to Miami and Miami Beach. And it took us more than 30 minutes from the time we entered the Golden Glades until we were officially on I-95 and moving. I couldn't believe it. And on the way back up, I mean, it's worse. On the way back up, what do you guys do? You know, is there an alt route other than the Golden Glades that I can't find on iMaps or Google Maps? But my goodness, what a mess. The Golden Glades are the worst. And people that drive that every day, I don't know how you do it. I couldn't do it. I would have to move unless I could take the Brightline or the Tri-Rail or something. It's awful. But when they finish this construction, they'll tell us, I guess, it's supposed to alleviate the traffic. I'll believe that when I see it in 5 years. But sometimes I have taken that alt route of I-75, the long way around. Doesn't work. That doesn't work. That's you know, you're moving, but it takes at least the same amount of time, if not longer, because it's many more miles when you're going down there from Boca. But it's a mess. I don't know what to do. All right. Anyway, listen. Do you suffer from neuropathy? Why haven't you called Lighthouse Medical yet? You know, the days of suffering from neuropathy are over, thanks to Lighthouse Medical. And Steve Kane is walking medical proof of that. You know, Steve had every neuropathy symptom there is. The numbness, the pain, the burning, the tingling in the hands and feet, the dizziness, the falling down all the time, the feeling of pins and needles in the hands and feet, no feeling at all. And what Steve told me, I didn't realize, I thought that those symptoms were kind of like in rotation. He says you can have multiple symptoms at the same time. And, you know, your doctors will tell you there's no treatment for neuropathy. That's not true. They have a treatment at Lighthouse Medical for neuropathy. They have a treatment that works, and they have a treatment that lasts. Steve had his neuropathy treatment 3.5 years ago. He saw immediate relief after the first treatment. They rid him of his neuropathy symptoms, and 3.5 years later, the neuropathy has not returned. Also, it's a no-charge consultation with Lighthouse Medical. When you mention you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show, they can help you no matter where you are located in the world. So no matter where you're listening to my voice, with telehealth and everything, Lighthouse Medical can help. All right. And if you've not been diagnosed with neuropathy, but you have any of these symptoms, call them. Take advantage of that no-charge consultation, and they'll let you know if you have it or not. The number is 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. That's 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. My name is Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. We'll take a break for the top and be back with more after this. All right, let's get back to the president. We're pretty almost through the speech by now. Wow. Oh boy. All right. We're going to be back in about a minute. We're still in radio station break. Those of you watching with the green wall behind me, to see and hear all the audio and video that I share, okay, you got to go to my main live stream on YouTube. The link is in the description of the video. That's if you got the green wall behind me, okay? And you can see and hear all the audio and everything I share. If you're on hold, stand by. Got to do a recap when we get back. Yeah, and I saw this on Twitter, and I thought this was a really cool thing. This is the an image of the president on all the networks at once live. All right. Stand by. Callers on hold, hang in there. All right, the 7 o'clock hour has begun. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Welcome. If you're on hold, stand by. Let me just, for those that are tuning in, this is one of, not just a high point in President Trump's presidency, both terms. This speech last night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time will go down in history as one of the most historic presidential speeches in history. And let me recap it because it's so good. And I hope that it's so obvious what happened here. Have all the other, people that talk about things like me, haven't they hit on this by now? It's so obvious. The media, they don't know what happened. They're in shock. We all thought that the speech last night was going to be an announcement of going to war. And we had a lot making us think that, right? The blockade, taking out the drug boats, Tucker Carlson yesterday trying to act like he's an insider. Wow. Okay. So thanks, Tucker. Manipulated. So Tucker really has shown us he's an outsider, not an insider in Trump world. Not only did all the cable news carry President Trump's speech, the broadcast networks did as well. NBC, ABC, and CBS. They're not even carrying the Oscars on ABC this next Oscars. It's going to be on YouTube only. But they did carry it on, they did carry the president's speech last night. And, what the speech was basically about was the affordability crisis is a lie. And he went through everything in the speech last night. It was wonderful. It was beautiful. The last time they all carried him is when he spoke in Butler before he got shot. And what I believe happened was that the president, first off, this affordability crisis has him pissed off because gas is under $2 all over the country. It's not that low in my neighborhood yet, but it's that low in multiple states around the country. It's dropping even here in South Florida as well. And prices are coming down, but the media keep telling you they're not. And President Trump got so much attention and exposure on what they thought was going to be a war speech that many millions of Americans who think there's an affordability crisis now learn the truth about all the great work the president has done. And I think this was inspired by the Vanity Fair hit piece. I think it pissed him off, and he got tired of the fake news media with their hit pieces, and he did a hit piece on them. And it was beautiful. And there's never been a moment of presidential media savvy like this before. And that's why I believe this will go down as one of the most historic speeches in any presidential speech history that's ever written. Now, the media are going to be pissed off today, okay, because they got played. So, and they'll tell you all kinds of things. But no, it was a beautiful thing. All right, if you'd like to call in, the number. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Vicky from Virginia.
Hey, Virginia, what's on your mind?
Listen, Brian.
Speak up, please.
This stuff is all fun for me today.
Speak up, Virginia.
First of all, I don't know if the vote that they did on the Senate floor was that a psyop too, because they voted also on the Venezuela nonsense, and Trump was so brilliant that he let all the networks stay online or stay broadcasting because they didn't know when he was going to say it, whether it was the beginning or the end. So he forced them to be on there until the end. And then this morning, they don't have no talking points because they all got psyop.
Yeah. You know, now I would imagine, you know, this is obvious enough. I mean, I don't know if I am original with this, but everybody has to realize what happened, right? So other people are going to be, what he did was so obvious, right? When it was over, it was so obvious. And if you watch the pundits last night, they're in shock. They're very numb and in shock. And this morning, it's so obvious what had happened. I imagine everyone's going to be saying what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, he forced them to stay online because normally when if he starts about 5 minutes in or 10 minutes in, you know, they cut the broadcast and they leave. But this time they didn't know whether he was, after all of this, you know, whatever he was going to say at the end, he would say, well, we're going to go to war with Venezuela. So they didn't know.
Yeah, so they had to stick in there to the end.
And broadcast.
Yeah, and by the way, the speech is only around 18 minutes long. And that's one of the reasons it's 18 minutes long. He didn't want to, you know, he didn't want to give them any excuses to drop out, right? So they didn't have enough time. So it was too short. It was at 18 minutes for them to wise up. Oh, we're being played. You understand what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Did you think the vote in Congress was also a psyop?
I don't know. I don't know about the vote. I don't know about the vote, but I do know about the, you know, we are, there is a buildup with Venezuela. I mean, he's declared not just fentanyl a weapon of mass destruction, and the cartels are terrorist organizations. He said Maduro and his regime are terrorists, right? I mean, you know, so I mean, this is, we are at war with Venezuela, and you know, and we'll find out that it's more official when there's a big op that happens. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call, Virginia. Take care. Oh, you know, I also saw this morning President Trump is making big moves. He is making a military alliance agreement with Peru, which of course is on the Pacific coast of South America. And he's making them a non-NATO ally or something, a status that he gave this status to Saudi Arabia recently, a non-NATO ally. And he's doing this with Peru so that our military will be working with the Peruvian military, and we're going to have military forces inside Peru. See, President Trump is changing everything. The cartels are done. They're going the way of Blockbuster Video. There aren't going to be any more. Here's Jack Prosobic was on with Steve Bannon on the War Room last night. Yes. You hear that? Do you hear Steve Bannon laughing in the background? You know, by the way, Jack Prosobic, he is a former intelligence officer was he in the Navy? And you could hear Bannon laughing as Prosobic goes through this. Yeah, they got some bad info. I love it. I love it. And I'm glad they picked up on that last night. It's so obvious. How could you not? Was it raining where you are this morning? Holy smokes. It was raining pretty hard this morning at my house. Hey, it's wintertime. It rains. It's Florida. We live in the tropics. If you've got a wet spot on your ceiling after these rains, you know what that means, right? That's right. You've got a leak in your roof. And that means you want to call Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. You know, Tom Laporta is a good MAGA guy. He'll never sell you a roof that you don't need, meaning that if you need just a simple repair, he'll do it. He works on every type of structure there is, okay? And that means if if it's residential, commercial, municipal, he even does church roofs. He can handle, he works with every type of roofing material. He also can handle the job of any size, whether it's a single family home and one office building, one apartment building, or an HOA that has over 450 units. Tom Laporta can handle it. He covers both the east and west coast of Florida and everywhere in between. Give him a call. This number rings directly to Tom Laporta's cell phone. You could call or text 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. That's 954-604-4602. And online, laportaroofing.com. We'll be back with more after this. All right, let's go back. I'm going through the entire Trump speech. We're almost through it. Mm.
Migrants.
All right, we're almost done with the speech. I'll finish it in the next break. We're going to be back in about a minute. Okay, hold on. I've got some more clips I got to play. Okay, yes, this one here we'll play. Okay. If you're on hold, stand by. If you'd like to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're listening. We'll be back in about 30 seconds. All right, we're back. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian. So we're talking about this great speech. And there were some big announcements. This is Greg Kelly last night on Newsmax. He has Dick Morris, the great Dick Morris, in studio, advisor to the president. Okay. Now, this is, of course, what Greg Kelly is talking about here is the bonus to the military members, $1,776. And for you that are liberally impaired in this audience, that's when the country was founded, the United States, 1776. This is going to be an annual thing, like that bonus we're getting, the 2,000, sometime next year. And I know what the left are going to say. A couple things already, with this 1776 bonus. I've already heard some of them say it. Oh, that's less than what a month's rent is. These snooty people. $1,776 being deposited in most people's bank account, especially enlisted ranks, lower level enlisted rank. That's life-changing money for people. It's a lot of money. And this Christmas bonus is well-deserved at Christmas time, is it not? But what the other thing they're going to say, after they tell you it's not that much money, right, give me a break. I've done a lot more for a lot less, haven't you? And they certainly deserve it. And I like this annual Christmas bonus for all military members of $1,776. They're going to start trying to act as if President Trump is a socialist and that he's giving all this money away, right? The $1,776, the $2,000 per person bonus next year. That's not the case at all. This is not socialist, and it's not being on the dole. It's not giving it away. The bonuses that we're all getting next year and this. And by the way, the service personnel are going to get the $2,000 too, on top of this $1,776. This is profit sharing. The United States is now in profit mode, probably for the first time, at least in a long time, with the tariffs. The import taxes that people on the left are always griping about, the government of the United States is making a profit. And we're all involved. This is all profit sharing. And that's a great thing. Like the Seminole Indian tribe of Florida. They all get money, every month from the tribe. We're getting money every year at different times for the profits on the tariffs. That's a great thing. This is not a giveaway, and it's not socialism. It's a profit-sharing plan, and it's great. The president has us all invested in the country's future by taking part in its profits. Who could be against that? And that $1,776 bonus that all the military members are getting, How much does the average military family spend on Christmas presents every year? Boy, oh boy. There you go. That's right. That's just great news. It really is. And just a great thing the president did. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once, twice. All right, you missed out. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Morning, Brian. It's Mark from New York. How are you?
I'm doing great, Mark. How are you?
Great.
Hold on, Mark. I got to answer all these lines coming in. Okay, hold on. I lost you. Is this Mark?
Yeah.
Okay, got you back. Okay, what's on your mind, Mark?
Hey, you always talk about it like it's profit sharing. You know, it costs us like an average American family $9,000 due to the tariffs, right? He's just giving us some of that money back, not all of it. I mean, that's just based on like every economic advisor that goes to talks about it.
Do you know who the leading? Excuse me. Maybe you know the answer to this question because you sound very informed. Do you know who the top most respected economist in the United States is? And by the way,
the biggest liar in chief?
No. Oh, so you know, but you don't want to say it.
Dude, he lies about everything. What are you talking about?
Who's the he? You can't say his name?
You know who it is? It's Donald J. Trump.
That's right. All right. Yes. Donald Trump is an economist. He's a leading economist. Not just because he went to that business school, but because he has decades of successful experience in finances, and he understands money and how it works in the economy in ways that I don't understand, right? And
right.
Excuse me,
right?
You can return to the talking points in a minute. The president's speech last night, he went through all these accomplishments. You know, as example, a bunch of states have gas prices under $2 a gallon, as low as even under $1.80 in some states. So the prices are coming down. Your talking points are a little out of date.
They're a little out of date. All right. I just don't understand where all this money's coming from.
The tariffs. The tariffs.
Oh, wait. So who pays the tariffs? By now, you know it by now, right? You know it's not other countries. You know it's American citizens.
Who pays the tariffs? The tariffs. The other.
Come on. You're smart enough. You know it. You get it. You're almost
companies
there.
in other countries. Don't try to be me. Don't try. You think you're going to use? You think you're going to use my techniques and powers against me? You're trying to do what I just did to you. I got you. Excuse me. I got you to admit prices are down and Trump's the top economist. Now you're going to try to do it to me? Get a life. All right, take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
How you doing, Brian? This is Ronnie Vick from West Palm Beach, Florida. I haven't spoken to you in quite some time, but your show is very interesting considering the type of people that come on it. But I agree with the young lady, first of all, and what she said. People don't get it. Trump is ordained and protected. Mm-hmm. I have an issue with all these liberals. They never spoke on anything that Joe Biden took from us, all of them. Even I really think Chuck Schumer needs to go somewhere and bury his head in the sand. Because, I mean, they have the Democrat Party, they was in power, and they never did anything.
That's true.
But this man is doing something for his country, his people,
I got to run
the
for the.
world,
I got to run.
and they
I got
are
to
mad
run.
at it.
I got to run for the bottom of the hour break. But I just want to tell you, one of the things they hate about President Trump. Are you still with me?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I am. I'm listening.
You know, I point this out sometimes because I think it's important. You know, getting a call from a black man or woman, and I've had multiple calls like this today from black men and women today, and it happens every day, who are Republican, is so commonplace today. But not before Trump. Before Trump came down the escalator, you didn't hear that many black men and women who were Republicans. Not like today. It was very unusual. You know, sometimes you'd go to a Republican meeting and they would have a black man or woman speaking, and they would talk about how they escaped from the Democrat plantation of the Democrat Party and are a Republican now. It's very rare. And now it's commonplace. It seems to me most black people are MAGA now, Republican, in huge numbers.
I've always been that way since a young kid.
But you know what I'm talking about, though. There's been a big change in the black community.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Red pill. They need to be red pill and know who is the enemy and who is for you. They are. I mean, it's amazing to me. I just can't fathom it.
That's beautiful. Hey, listen, thanks for the call. Call again more often. You're a good caller.
Hey, you take care. Good talking to you.
All right, take care. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. I want to talk about coastal weight loss secret. You know, this is that time of year, right? The New Year's resolutions. You know, if your New Year's resolution is to lose weight, with Coastal Weight Loss Secret, it will come true, like it did with me. You know, I've never been on any type of weight loss program or plan that was formal in the past, and I was very nervous about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. One, I was worried that I would not be successful, or I'd lose weight and gain it all back, and have to explain myself to you guys, especially those who watch me on YouTube, because I've never been on any type of weight loss. The other thing is I was afraid that it was going to be difficult. I was going to have to work out all the time. I'm not going to work out all the time. It's just not going to do it. If I did, it would last a few weeks, and I certainly couldn't maintain that. I thought I was going to have to starve myself to death or eat foods that I couldn't stand, but I had to do it. And I thought there'd be some kind of medications, because everyone's taking pills and shots now. None of that is the case. And I lost about 1 pound a day. I lost 25 pounds in 3 weeks. I lost over 35 pounds in total. And for about half the year, maybe even a little longer, I've been in the maintain phase, which has been effortless because I didn't have any major lifestyle changes like the ones I just mentioned to lose the weight. So keeping it off is easy. And, I told you guys I had to go down to Miami with my wife yesterday, stopped in at McDonald's on the way and ate in the car, had some McNuggets and some cheeseburgers and fries and a Coke, okay? And I've not gained an ounce back. Give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call. No matter where you're located, they can help you lose weight. We have listeners from all over the United States who have called them. And set up your no-charge consultation, 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightloss.secret.com. If you're on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig, back after this. All right, I think we might finish the speech. I started, if you're just joining, I've been playing President Trump's address to the nation from last night during the breaks, and we've only got a couple minutes left, less than 2 minutes left. Oh, man. Yes. Oh, my goodness. That was so good. He just totally played these fools. All right, we got about 90 seconds until we're back. If you'd like to call in, the number's pinned in the live chat, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. If you're on hold, stand by. Oh, what a great day. Just about 30 seconds and we'll be back. Oh, man. Oh. I had a long day yesterday, not a lot of sleep, so we're just past the halfway mark. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning.
Oh,
Happy
hey, Richie.
Thursday, Brian.
Oh, man.
This is Richie.
What a great day.
I have a criticism of you really up quick, okay? I'm looking on a 65-inch 4K television in my den, and I can see your equipment is so outstanding. You're so professional. I can see every whisker on your face.
Yes.
I mean, you are the clearest cameras that I've ever seen on a podcast or
well,
unbelievable.
Thank you.
I'm telling you the truth.
Thank you.
And now I'm going to say something. President Trump, when he went into office, he gave the military a raise, folks. Don't forget that. He gave everybody in the military a raise. And the last time I looked, $1,776 is a lot more than zero.
I would take it.
And by the way, he did not give as much as he gave to the illegals that the Democrats did. He didn't give them airfare all over the United States. He didn't give them 3 squares a day. He didn't put them in a 5-star hotels in New York City. I mean, he didn't do all this. You know, he's a little more responsible with the American dollar. He gives it to Americans.
Yes.
You know, so and I got to say something else. That speech last night, the end was great because it was Merry Christmas.
That's right. Not Happy Holidays.
No, Merry Christmas. And it was a beautiful setting, and it stumped all these people. And for the guy that called up from Texas, once again,
my goodness,
he didn't say anything new. Anybody that listens to your show knows he didn't really say anything new.
The call from Texas in the first hour is one of the classic calls in the history of this program. I filleted that guy. Yeah. And I tell you, I didn't get much sleep last night. I was, and had a long day yesterday, and I wasn't even.
Yeah, I know how bad.
I didn't have my coffee really yet, and I filleted that guy from Texas. It was, I was like Keanu Reeves at the end of The Matrix when he found out he was the one. I mean, I was amazed myself.
Absolutely.
He was so humiliated, that guy.
By the way, I haven't been out of Golden Glades in a long time, but I know once you go and buy that Hard Rock Stadium. You see it on the left?
Yeah.
It takes forever to make that right-hand hook into 95. Unbelievable.
Well, the Golden Glades, I got to take, I had to go down to Miami Beach with my wife yesterday, and the Golden Glades is under construction, and it's the Golden Glades has always been a mess, and I've looked at their renderings of how the traffic's going to flow when it's done. I don't believe it. But it's a mess. I don't know how. If I had to drive through that every day, I would move on whichever side of the Golden Glades I worked on. I couldn't do it. I'd sell my house.
So getting back to this speech, and there's one thing I do disagree with you. I think that Dan Bongino, I didn't think he got fired at all. I think, and I'm going to tell you what I think put him over the edge, and he cleared out his office as soon as this happened. With this Brown University, the FBI, the guy in charge of the Boston area, he jumped the gun and made an idiot. They all look like idiots because the first guy they grabbed, they said, we got the guy, including the FBI. And he actually got on there and bragged and said, this is how we work.
Cash.
This is how the great FBI. Yeah. And I think Dan Bongino sees that and says enough is enough, especially with Pam Bondi. I mean, botching up some of these cases. I mean,
listen, we're gonna see. I'm gonna give, I think there's a combination of things, and the timing might have been very good. It might have been. Did you see that? I don't know if any of you guys saw this online. I'm not even sure this was real. It was so absurd. Did you see those FBI agents looking through the snow with their feet for evidence in Providence yesterday?
Yeah,
was that real?
That's real. They're looking for any kind of guns or bags.
They showed these FBI ladies, and they were in someone's front yard moving the snow with their feet, like, it looked like they were playing.
Yeah. That whole thing is really out of control.
But Dan Bongino,
really
listen,
is.
I'm going to tell you this, okay? Because I was always a fan of Dan Bongino, but I think all of us have had frustrations with Bondi and Cash, and we thought we were going to have, all the lawfare arrests. We talked about this a lot. So, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I think the Comey thing put him over the edge. She actually blew that by not paying attention to when it was going to be over, and she waited too long. And then that screwed up everything.
Well, this is what we don't know about Pam Bondi, okay? There's a couple things. It's an unknown, right? Is she incompetent and doesn't know what she's doing, right? And has gotten by on her looks, okay? That's a possibility. There's another possibility that she came up through the ranks, through the bushes. So is she making, you know what I mean? Is she botching things up on purpose? Yeah. And the third possibility, and this is also a strong possibility, is these are some dangerous people, the Brennans and the Comeys. Is she scared? I don't know. But
when she came down the first time in front of all of those influencers and handed them those portfolios and said, that was the biggest mess you ever seen in your life. I think she's incompetent. I mean, I'm not saying that.
I do too. That's my pick. That's my pick.
Yeah, I mean, she's just a little scatterbrained, and I think Dan Bongino's frustrated. Besides that, you're right about the money.
Listen, with Pam Bondi, they blew it with Comey. And Comey is the ringleader. Okay,
and that's why. But he wants accountability, man. That was his whole stick. I'll go into the government. I want accountability. He got the pipe bomber, but I think he wanted Comey more than anything, and especially being in the FBI.
Listen, I'm not gonna bash him. Okay, I mean, we've all been frustrated, and I've said what I said, and I stand by what I said. But the thing that makes me say that he may have been fired is because it was reported he had that blow up a couple months back with Pam Bondi and Susie Wiles. That was over the Epstein files.
That was over Comey.
Or Comey? Was it over
Epstein
Comey?
Files. Yeah, Epstein files. Yeah.
And then he didn't come to work for a few days, and then they brought in this other guy to be a deputy FBI director, which there's only one deputy FBI director, so they had two, and he's going to replace him. And so we're never going to know the real answer to this, whether he really is fed up and left, or if he's been fired. We'll never really know.
No, but here's the deal. You go to Publix and you go buy you're in the mood for something. You go to Chipotle today. I'll give you an example. And you know exactly what you're going to order, and you walk in there, you put down your money, and you get your order. The government is different. If the government, you want Chipotle, you can't go to Chipotle. You got to go about 15 other places before you get to Chipotle. And I think that he's frustrated on the way government works.
Yes. And these agents that are taking knees and everything else to black people for forgiveness. Yeah. One of the worst places to go to is the DMV to renew your driver's license. And I went down.
They treat you like crap.
Yeah, but the last time I had to go in person, the girl that was working there, I went to high school with. Oh my goodness, I was there 10 minutes. And it was such a difference. And I saw everybody else with the numbers and everything else, and we hadn't seen each other since high school. And it was a great experience. And when you're friends with the government bureaucrats, things go a lot smoother. And if they don't, they screw you over.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What's that noise in the background? Are you doing dishes?
I have a boxer. My wife just walked him from his walk. A big dog, a box purebred, and he's drinking water like a camel.
Oh, I see.
Right in front of me.
Okay.
That's what you do.
I'll never own another dog.
Have a great day.
Dogs are like babies.
Oh, I love them.
I love dogs too.
I love them, though. I'll tell you something. Brian, you don't get the wheezing when you have a dog, especially you.
I know.
With the allergies.
I'm allergic to cats, and I have 5 of them.
Have a good one, bro.
All right, take care. I have 4 cats, and I'm allergic to cats. I know it's tough. Okay, now listen, this may be the most important question that I ask you today, okay? Are you in pain? So the next question is, why haven't you gone to see Dr. Philip Appleton and taken advantage of the no-charge consultation and let Dr. Appleton tell you how we can rid you of pain with his laser away pain treatment. You know, Dr. Appleton's laser is not just a laser, it's a robotic laser. And the robotic laser actually moves around the entire area that's being treated. And I give you an example as when I went in for my shoulder or my knee, okay? The robotic laser, Dr. Appleton, very skilled. He is able, when he examines you, to determine exactly where the pain is coming from. And I remember one day I went in and my hand and arm were in massive pain. And he says, it's coming right here in your shoulder, Brian. I said, but doc, it's down here in my, he's like, that's the nerves. I said, okay, you're the doctor. You know, so he's able to determine the exact spot where the pain's coming from. He's very good. I mean, he's rid me of pain 7 times. So he targets that area with the robotic laser, but the laser doesn't just stay there on top. It moves around the entire area. The top of the shoulder, the side of the shoulder, the back of the shoulder, the top of the shoulder, and it moves all around, treating all angles of the area. Same goes with the knee or my hand with the arthritis. So you're getting the full treatment with the laser away pain treatment, not just that spot, all the way around it from every angle. And it works. He's rid me of pain 7 times, and the pains, all 7 times, not only did he rid me of the pain, none of the 7 pains have returned, including the arthritis, which blew me away, because when he told me I had arthritis in my hand, I thought, that's it, I'm done. Give him a call. Remember, appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com. We'll be right back. Oh, man. Great show today, guys. It really is. If you're on hold, stand by. If you want to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. We'll be right back. All right, we will be back in just over a minute. Here's my allergy medication I got to take. Hold on. The one medication I take. All right. Just took my allergy medication. I forgot to take it before the show. Okay, we've got about 30 seconds. It's a nasal medication. All right. Okay. That's it right there. 30 seconds. All right, we're back. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig, and we're just celebrating the brilliance of Trump last night on how he just got back at the fake news media, and they didn't even realize what was happening. So a lot of people are talking about this $1,776 bonus he's giving all the members of the military. And they get a liberal over here on News Nation. Listen to this. I don't know what the impact of that $1,776. The arrogance and this and just how snobby some of these people are, that they think $1,776 isn't a lot of money, or it's not enough money, or it doesn't go far enough. How many of you are getting a $1,700 bonus, $1,776 bonus for Christmas? Probably most of you aren't. Wouldn't you like to get it, though? Yeah, I hope they go with that today, that it's not enough, it's not much, Yeah, and this thing with the Brown University shooter, there was a moment yesterday. I don't know if I've got the audio. No, I don't seem to have the audio here. I have it somewhere. I'll have to find it. If I can find it, I'll play it later. There was a Hispanic report. Did you guys see the Brown University press conference yesterday? What a bunch of Keystone cops you got there. I don't think, I know I played this audio for myself off the air. I got to have it somewhere. Well, I'll look for it. I'll play it for you later if I can find it. In their press conference yesterday, things did not, they shut down the press conference yesterday. There was a Hispanic reporter. There's been a lot of talk at Brown University that they have like more cameras than any other university around. It's something that they're very proud of, that they brag about for campus safety. But they don't have any footage of this guy. And this reporter had asked a question about the cameras, that do they not have cameras at this particular building because they're trying to shield the illegals. They don't want the illegals caught on camera. It was a Hispanic reporter that asked the question, and they shut down the press conference. Did you see this? They shut down the press conference, ended it when he asked the question, which means they answered it, that there's some truth to that. Here we are moving into a week. They've not found this. Kash Patel was celebrating that they got that white guy over the weekend that was not the shooter. They released this new video that I covered yesterday of a guy who was identified on Twitter as a student there who's Muslim and was supportive of that Palestinian terror network that just got busted out in Los Angeles over the other day. We've heard no updates on this. I have never seen a mass shooting event, which is what it was, at a school that got so little press coverage. Have you? No. And there's a lot to cover, not just these embarrassment of press conferences that the weirdo mayor and the idiot police chief that likes to speak Spanish in his press conferences are giving. This thing that happened with the FBI agents yesterday that I mentioned to Richie, when I saw this video, did any of you see this video that I talked about? I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a joke. And they have these FBI agents. They're in the front yard of a house, snow's on the ground, and they're moving the snow in a line with their feet, looking for evidence under the snow. And I mean, it looked like they were playing. It doesn't even look like they're really doing something. And the video that they released a couple of days ago of the suspected shooter, his walk was so bizarre and unusual. He's been identified on Twitter already. That guy has not been arrested. Then they put out another video that showed someone's face, and the guy in the second video that they're looking for, not only could you see his face, he had these very unusual shoes on that look like clown shoes. There's no one that knows that guy that doesn't know who he is between just the shoes alone are so bizarre. Yeah, I mean, when I say they're like clown shoes but black in color, it's very, very unusual shoes. And we've got a Keystone Cops investigation going on. But usually with the media, you've got a school shooting at a major Ivy League university. You've got people on the run. You have a false arrest, even though they weren't calling it arrest. They've got multiple suspects they haven't been able to identify. And, you know, if they went out and started, are classes out of session yet? Are the students still there? I don't know. You know, now that my daughter's grown, I don't keep track of such things. But if you just went around campus and asked students to identify these two people based on the footage they've seen, you would get identifications all over the place. And local law enforcement and the FBI, the way they've been walking around that area searching is embarrassing. They look like idiots. Have you seen any of this footage that I've been talking about? But why is the press not covering it? And, you know, this story that I shared that Loomer broke, that the guy yelled Allah Akbar, this is starting to pick up even more. It's been confirmed by other sources that he was yelling Allah Akbar. And still, I haven't seen that in any of the so-called traditional mainstream media accounts. Have you? If this person has gotten away, it's because of the incompetence of local law enforcement, the FBI, and also the media. Okay, I know that Kash Patel would like to get an arrest, but he doesn't. Kash Patel seems more interested in his girlfriend than he does getting to the bottom of this. Tell you the truth, doesn't he? To you. And maybe this is the final straw for Dan Bongino, and he said enough of this embarrassment. I don't know. We'll find out when he returns to the air. He's not leaving till after the first of the year, and I imagine he's got everything set up already to back in place to go back and do his show right away. So we'll see what he does when he gets back, and if he gave us some real accurate inside analysis of the problems that's going on at the FBI, I'd be very excited to hear that, and I hope he does that. And if it is the bureaucracy, I mean, I'm looking at them going through the snow yesterday, these FBI agents, and I'm thinking, really, what are they looking for? Shouldn't they be going over that with a metal detector? They're more likely to find things with a metal detector than they are shoveling snow with their feet. And this was on Fox News yesterday, so this was pretty widely reported. This week we've just been a number of big celebrity deaths. I was talking yesterday, Gil Gerard, Buck Rogers, Anthony Geary from General Hospital, Footy from Y100. You know, this time of year is just a time when there's a lot of death. And according to the American Heart Association, December is the deadliest time of year for heart attacks, with Christmas and New Year's Day being the deadliest heart attack days of the year. It's pretty scary, huh? Yeah. And this happens every year. I see this with the celebrity deaths. It's really a sad thing. But you know, so often these things are preventable with Life Imaging FLA. You know, Life Imaging FLA, they're all about proactive health. People go over there every day and they find out that they've got blockage. They find out that they have a growth. They find out that they have cancer before there's any symptoms, so they can take care of it before things get worse. One of our listeners called me the other day, found out he had a heart issue. Didn't know about, no symptoms. Took the scan, went to his doctor, boom. They take care of it. Life Imaging FLA have locations in Broward, Dade, and Palm Beach County. They're offering free heart scans with a few minimum requirements. That's absolutely amazing, and it's valued at $699. When you're over there, please make sure you ask them about the cancer screening while you're there. From your cell phone, call pound 250 and say free heart scan. You'll be connected in seconds. That's pound 250 and say free heart scan. Pound 250 on your cell phone, say free heart scan. You will be connected in seconds. If you're on hold, stand by. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. We've got 1 hour to go. Steve Kane will be joining us after the top. We will go back to the phones. Our number is 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are listening. 888-465-2631. All right, we'll take our break for the top of the hour. Come back with Steve Kane and your calls right after this break.
Okay.
All right, you there?
Hello.
Hey, you there?
Yes.
Okay.
Are we on?
Not yet. I'll put you on hold. I'll be right back to you. We got a couple minutes.
Okay.
Hold on. All right, Steve, you there?
Yes, I am.
We got just over a minute. Oh, man. Did you have somewhere you wanted to go, or?
Oh, yeah, I'll pick it up.
Okay. All right, just over 30 seconds.
Okay.
All right, we're back. The 8 o'clock hour has begun. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane joining us. Hey, Steve.
Good morning. How are you today?
Oh, this is, things are going so well with Trump. I could not be doing any better.
I'm afraid I see it a little differently, but I mean, I saw it as a mess.
What?
I mean, was there anything that happened last night in Trump's speech that surprised you?
Yes. Oh my God. Have you been listening to me this morning?
I've been listening. Yes.
Can I update you, and can I recap for those that may not have?
Well, rather than recap, can you just answer my question? I mean,
it takes a recap to answer your question. Okay.
Well, all right. Okay.
But I do want to mention something though. I mentioned it earlier in the week, but you weren't here, and I'll mention it with you, and then I'll answer your question. I mentioned this a couple days ago because it was important to me. You know, Footy from Y100 died. You know, Footy from Sonny Fox. You know, Sonny in the Morning.
I didn't realize that.
Footy just died. And
when did that happen?
Over the weekend, I heard the story that Footy died. And did you know Footy? I know you knew.
No.
You were friends with Sonny Fox, but I
yes.
didn't. Yeah. And I got to tell you that. When I was in middle school and high school, I listened to them in the mornings before school, and then you were on an afternoon drive, and I listened to you in the afternoon when I got out of school. And you know, you and Sonny Fox and Footy, I mean, you guys were part of the reason I got in this business. And certainly I missed.
We're dropping like flies. Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, what I'm telling no. What I'm saying is everybody else has dropped like a fly, and I was thinking. Back, you know, the Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach, South Florida radio market, out of all of the legends of yesteryear, you know, the 80s and all of that, and the 90s, I think you're the last gunfighter. I think you're the last man standing. I think everyone's dead. But you.
What about Craig Worthing? Craig must be alive. I haven't heard anything about him.
I'm a big fan of, no. I'm not saying there aren't other people that are radio people from the 80s. They're not all dead. I mean, there has you know, but I'm talking about like the big guys, the famous.
You mean they're not on the air anymore?
No. Footy hasn't been on the air in years. What I'm talking about is all the top names in the Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach radio market from that era. That would be Sonny Fox, Footy, you, Neil, Tanner in the Morning. What happened to Tanner in the Morning? Remember Bo, the new Bo? They're all dead, but you. I'm talking about the big names. You're the last gunfighter.
I'm trying to figure out if I'm supposed to feel good about that or bad about it.
Well, you've outlived all of them. They've, you know. But I'm trying to think out of that era of this. Let me tell you, the Miami, Fort Lauderdale, South Florida radio market had the top radio talent in the history of the medium, right?
Yes, that's true.
In that era. And people have no idea. And I do think you're the only one left above ground. And it's I was a big fan of Footy's. And he was a very good guy. Remember, he used to be Athlete's Foot, and then he just went to Footy, you know, and he was Sonny Fox's sidekick on Y100. And that show was legendary. The Sonny in the Morning show with Athlete's Foot on Y100. But anyway, I just thought I'd share it. No, I think you're the last one alive. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, okay, you successfully managed to divert me from my question.
No. I thought I was giving you good news, but I guess it's not good news to find out everybody you knows dead.
It's good news to be alive.
It's good news.
Thrilled to be here.
Okay, let me answer your question, okay?
Yes.
Okay. If you're on hold, stand by, and it was everything, in short, and I'll explain why, Steve, everything the president said was new. Every syllable was new.
Really?
Yes.
So there were no surprises for you? I mean,
Oh, no, you and I knew all this, but it was new to most everybody who watched. Okay, this speech last night was not only carried live on the cable news networks, it was carried on the broadcast networks, right? All the broadcast networks, NBC, ABC, CBS. And what had happened, you weren't with us yesterday. You were sitting Shiva for footy, I believe. But yesterday, we were, I was talking about that Vanity Fair hit piece that Susie Wiles screwed up and allowed to happen with those crazy photographs that look like they're from Halloween.
Yes.
And while we only found out about it in the public, the Vanity Fair hit piece yesterday and the day before, Trump's known about it for a while. And it pissed him off. Not at Susie Wiles. I think he was pissed off at Vanity Fair and the media. And he did this major manipulation of the media. He led them to believe that he was going to announce that America was at war with Venezuela. Not only did he lead them to believe that based on actual events, right? We have the largest naval blockade in the history of the Western Hemisphere is taking place. But he also leaked out to Tucker Carlson and others that he was going to declare war and announce it at this press conference. So all of the
Which he didn't do, right?
No, they leaked that. It was a misinformation campaign. So all of the networks, including the broadcast networks, carried the...
Yeah, but the point I'm trying to make is the ones that got fooled were people like you and me.
No.
Yeah, that's how I see it.
No. Steve,
I mean, I was to tell you the truth, I was expecting a major development in the campaign, the naval campaign.
There was a major development. Because tens of millions of people, because such hype was made and it was on the broadcast networks, watched the speech. And the media, they wouldn't have watched it if it wasn't on broadcast media and such hype wasn't made. And the entire speech it was a big psyop by the president. It was all about giving his accomplishments of this year, that the affordability crisis is a lie that they've made up. And it was all new to the tens of millions that watched it. And I think this speech is going to go down as one of the most historic speeches in presidential history. Not just Trump's presidential history, all presidents. It was the biggest media manipulation ever, Steve. It was beautiful. It was all new to most everyone who watched it.
I see it differently. I just don't see that.
Okay.
I don't think I think there are a lot of people connected with all these situations that are covering their butt.
Yeah.
And what's known as mistakes. In other circles, it would be considered mistakes. But if you're a Donald follower, you don't want to, it's not considered politically correct to say that Donald and the Trumpers are doing anything wrong. But I think it's chaos there.
Oh,
what you're describing with
no.
You think they're in control? I've never seen such chaos.
Well, I would say, when you say chaos, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about Bongino and all these people.
I think President Trump fired. I think President Trump fired Bongino, and they're letting him save face.
But he didn't say that.
No, but I think he fired him. I don't think.
But But doesn't it disturb you that the guy that we put so much faith in is not leveling with those of us who are his followers?
Those of us who support President Trump, no. He's not. He doesn't want to have a scandal.
That you can't believe what he says?
Of course you can believe what he says. But he's manipulating. You know, what Donald Trump does best, I think this
But he's not supposed to manipulate us, is what I'm trying to say.
But he's not.
It's one thing to manipulate the press, but it's another thing to manipulate people who believe in him.
But we see through it. We've got the sunglasses on from They Live. We see what's really there. The rest of them don't. I've got the They Live sunglasses on and can see what's really happening. And most MAGA people can't.
Roddy Piper, remember that?
He's dead too, Steve. Did you know?
Roddy Piper is dead?
He's been dead for years.
I didn't even know he was sick.
He's been dead for a decade. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's too bad.
You're like an immortal. Highlander. No, Steve, this was such a beautiful manipulation. I'm so excited. No, there's no chaos. I'm so excited at this speech. I was amazed, and I did, and I think the driving force was the Vanity Fair hit piece. Trump found out what was coming, and he said enough of this crap. Listen, I got to put you on hold, and we're gonna go to break, and then we'll be back. Okay. All right. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve is here. I'm Brian. We'll be right back. All right, we're in break, Steve, but I'm going to put you on hold, and I got to call George Colony. So after I'm done talking to George, I'll go back to you.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. So it's going to be a longer hold. Okay, hold on.
Good morning.
Hey, George, it's Brian.
Hi.
Hey there. We are about 2 minutes. I'm going to put you on hold. We'll be live in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, stand by. Okay, just over a minute. We'll be back. Less than a minute. Do you guys agree with me or Steve? Call in the air and let us know, because I think I'm right. All right, we're back, and it's time to check in with George Colony. George Colony, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. You know, when it comes to what you do involving real estate, it goes beyond just single-family homes and condos and things we normally think of. But you were telling me yesterday, George Colony, that there's all kinds of great opportunities for people when it comes to Airbnbs and warehouses.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that today a lot of people, you know, they've got their jobs or they're retired, but they always think about what would happen if I started my own business. And I have a lot of people come to me, and an easy way to start a business because of the financing available for real estate. It's easy to get a really nice location that would be available for people to come visit, called an Airbnb. We are in Florida, especially Fort Lauderdale, we're the spring break capital of the world. So people are used to coming to this area. They like to come down for a week or two at a time. It is a little seasonal, but the thing is, you could today start a little business, whatever it is. But if it was Airbnb, you could buy a place, you could fix it up, you could run it, you could be in the hospitality business, and you could make money. And a lot of people dream about it, they don't do it. And that's exactly what I spend my time doing, is helping people start businesses or improve their businesses.
Yeah, you know, we are in a vacation destination, and you know, 80% of cruises in the world leave out of South Florida. A lot of people, 80% sail out of South Florida, worldwide cruises. So a lot of people come here to go on vacation before and after their cruises. I didn't realize, so people buy real estate just to have an Airbnb business. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that's what they do. And, you know, there's a lot of businesses that you can start up. I think it's a shame we go through this life and not maximize what we're capable of doing ourselves.
Yeah.
I think it's exciting wherever you are in your life to start a new business, whatever it is, and get up in the morning and can't wait to get to it. That's part of life as far as I'm concerned. I love it.
And it's also, you know, you got that revenue stream that comes in, right? That comes in pretty regular. So that's a good thing. So so someone comes to you, I'm interested in an Airbnb business. Where do you go from there? How does that work?
Well, the first place we start is looking for the right location where people want to be, walkability, where they can get to the beach, they can get to Las Olas, in Fort Lauderdale, obviously. But in any town, you want to see where people want to be, where they want to vacation. A lot of people today with a lot of the hotel prices are high.
Oh, yes.
So when they're going on a vacation and they got 2 or 3, 4 kids with them, it makes more sense to just rent a house or an Airbnb rather than try to buy 2 or 3 hotel rooms.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a great opportunity for people. The thing is, someplace you got to make a decision to do something about it. That's all.
And well, that first decision is to pick up the phone and call George Colony on his cell phone, and it's 954-801-7320. You can call or text, okay? And if you get a voicemail because he's speaking with someone, leave your name and number. George Colony will call you back. 954-801-7320. 954-801-7320. All right, George Colony, we'll talk tomorrow.
It's going to be a great day today, Brian.
It sure is. All right, take care. Take care. All right. Steve Kane, you back with us?
I hope so.
Well, good. Well, you know, listen, you're the last man standing. I don't, you know, got to keep an eye on you. We're back. Okay. No, so Steve, no, hold on one second here. Our phones are, okay, you back with us, Steve?
I hope so.
Yeah, you're back. Okay. Our phones are ringing off the hook. So I want to throw it out there to you guys. Who do you agree with about this speech last night, Steve Kane or me? I think I think by the end of the day, Steve, you're going to agree with me.
Well, I got to hear more. I don't know. It was a wild day yesterday. I've been invited myself to join you with William Youngerman on the precious metals this morning. I've never seen a precious metals market like I saw yesterday. And it's like hard for me to believe it's so great.
That's because of the war talk with Venezuela.
Yeah, I was figured that might be it, but I was expecting some action.
No, war's going to happen. We're already at war. You know, President Trump, he's done 3 things this week that show we're going to war. The blockade, the largest blockade in the history of the Western Hemisphere, greater than that of the Cuban Missile Crisis, is around Venezuela. He declared fentanyl a weapon of mass destruction. He declared Maduro a terrorist leading a terrorist regime. Oh, and there's another one I saw this morning. he's forming a military alliance with Peru, which is on the Pacific coast
Well,
of South
I was
America.
expecting to hear some of that last night, and I didn't. I was a little bit disappointed in that.
Oh no, I'm happy. He tricked them.
Yeah.
He tricked them. All right, the war will happen.
I think he tricked us.
No, he didn't. No. All right, let's take some calls. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jupiter.
Hey, Jupiter.
Hey, real quick, I got a couple things. Ron Diaz, Ron Bennington, Rick and Suds. What happened to Mo Howard David? Remember him? What happened to all those guys? They all dead?
I don't know. Some of them are dead. Yeah, Rick and Suds. Are they both gone, or is only one gone? I thought Suds died.
I don't know. I think Ron Diaz had AIDS, didn't he?
No. Oh, I don't know. I don't know who that is. I don't know.
That?
I don't know Ron Diaz.
You remember Ron and Ron? They were like a big deal.
I know who they are, but I didn't know them. I didn't know them personally. I didn't say that Steve's the only guy in radio. No, hold on. I didn't say Steve's the only guy in radio who's still alive from the 80s. South Florida, the Miami-Fort Lauderdale market had these radio legends on the air. They're all dead, but Steve.
Oh, yeah. I was a kid.
Ron and Ron were not local. They were on the air here, but they weren't local to the market. I'm talking about the local legends.
Yeah, they came over. Yeah, you're right. They came over to IOD, I think. But I remember Hank Goldberg and
he's dead.
Howard David.
Howard David's got to be dead. Goldberg's dead.
He's got to be dead.
Yeah,
because he did the Jets for a while, right?
Yeah.
From the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Remember my feud with Goldberg?
Yes.
I almost got into a fight with him in the hallways at IOD.
I got stories on him that I'll never share. I'll never share my Hank Goldberg stories. But
he was a character.
Oh, God, come on, man. Hank Goldberg. Yeah, that guy.
If you go on the cruise, I'll tell them, but not on the radio. No, I'm not. I don't want to share them on the radio.
That's not why I called. That's not why I called. But and also, speaking of wrestling legends, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff is dead too. He's a Florida guy.
But you know what I mean though by the South Florida radio legends. People have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kane's the last one left that I know of, and I'm not an expert in it, but that's.
Out of Rick and Suds, does one of them? Suds died, and by the way, Suds was one of the nicest people I've ever met in radio. You know.
Yeah, remember their little song "Drive Home with Us Today."
Yeah.
Wake up and have your say or something like that.
Yeah, but Rick from Rick and Suds was nasty man, followed only by the nastiest of their pathetic producer, Adam. He was a monster. A monster. He was worse than George Rodriguez.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, I remember that. Right.
He's
George,
dead
yeah,
too.
yeah,
He's dead too.
Rodriguez.
George is dead. They're all dead. Just Steve. Steve's it.
They're all dead. Everybody's dead. I guess
Except
I'm going
Steve.
there next.
We're all dying, but I didn't realize what.
Figure out whether they feel good or bad about it.
But I don't know if Rick from Rick and Suds is dead or alive. If anybody knows, let me know. I appreciate that. All right, take care. I didn't realize it was kind of a depressing thing to bring up, Steve. When I mentioned it, I thought it was a good thing, but I guess it's not.
Well, it is. It depends how you view it.
Well, from your viewpoint, it should be good because you're still alive. But no,
it's all in the eye of the beholder.
No, but listen, the reason I bring that up is I was a big fan of footy, and people haven't really been talking about it because that whole era of radio people don't remember footy as big as he was. You know what I mean? And he was a great powerhouse with Sonny Fox. And we have had, this market is one of the greatest radio markets in the history of radio. And that era,
that's true.
And that era, when you came to Miami in '83 from Orlando, and that period was the golden age of radio in the market, and everything that that's why I'm in this business, because of you and Rick and all these guys, and people just have no idea, and I miss those guys. I miss all of them. I mean, they were all great, even the ones I didn't like. Were good. But
they were great days.
Exactly, and I got to know most of them, not all of them, but most of them, and that was always exciting. Steve, I used to be a caller. I used to call everybody's show. I used to call Sonny Fox and Footy on the radio before I went to school.
You were a great caller.
I never called you. But I called these other guys. I didn't call you because I didn't have a car phone. You had to be a rich guy to have a car phone then, and you were I was in the car coming home. I'd call Sonny and Fox and Footy before I left, before the school bus, But you in the afternoon, I didn't have a car phone, or people didn't have cell phones then unless you were rich. You had one, but you had to be like Gordon Gekko to have a cell phone back then, the brick phones. But anyway, enough of that. Let's get back on track. And before we go to our break for the bottom of the hour, you want to talk about talking about great legends, Wings Plus on Sample Road in Coral Springs.
Oh boy, make me hungry.
Oh man,
greatest wings anywhere.
Oh yeah. And I'll just tell you how we found Wings Plus, and then you could talk about the other stuff, Steve. I'd been eating at Wings Plus for many years, and our studio used to be right down the street from Wings Plus on Sample Road, our old Adams World studio. And I'd been telling you about Wings Plus. You went in there one day for lunch, first time. The next day you came in with the Wings Plus menu. We were doing spots for them. The food is spectacular.
Absolutely, no question of it.
Yeah.
Plump chicken wings that are absolutely sensational, done to a turn, crispy on the outside, moist, tender, and oh so delicious and juicy on the inside. And this is the time of year that you want to stop by Wings Plus whenever you can during football season. We're coming up on the playoffs, and that's where you want to be watching the games, where the politically elite meet with the greatest wings, the greatest, what would I say, the greatest hamburgers.
Oh.
Unbelievable hamburgers. Everything homemade, as Brian says, nothing out of the can. And you can call in before the game starts in football season and put your order in and then pick it up at halftime and not miss any of the game and not have to wait in line forever.
And I want to tell you one thing I do at Wings Plus that I don't think I've ever done at another restaurant in my life, and I do it every time at Wings Plus. When I go to Wings Plus and eat a meal at Wings Plus, I always order a second meal to take home for the next day. A complete separate.
Absolutely.
I'm not talking about like what I didn't eat. I've eaten everything. I get another meal for the next day. It's so good. All right, Wings Plus is located in Coral Springs, about a mile west of University Drive on the south side of Sample Road. When you're in there, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the legendary Steve Kane Show.
Steve Kane Show.
All right, if you're on hold, stand by. We'll be right back. All right, Steve, I'm going to put you on hold. Hold on. Okay. Where am I? What do I got to do here? Okay. All right. Okay, we got about 90 seconds. All right, Steve, you there?
I am.
All right, we got about 90 seconds. I'll go back to the phones, and I got some other stories too. I'll go to the phones first.
Okay.
All I know Suds died, and for some reason, I cannot remember Rick's last name from Rick and Suds. Do you remember his last name?
Rick, I'm trying to think.
Son of a gun. Let me see.
Riley.
Rick Riley. No, yeah, I think so. That might be it. Let me see. I can't find anything about him. I don't know. I don't think Riley.
Throw it out and see if it.
Yeah. All right, we got about 30 seconds. Rick Riley. I mean, that's a familiar name. I mean, we know a Rick Riley, and it might be him.
I think it is.
Yeah, about 15 seconds. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. Steve Kane is here. All right.
Well, I just wanted to throw in one thought.
Yep.
You know, that great gift list that Donald put out with tips to the military and bonuses for
that's great.
Tips and all that stuff. We benefited from that hugely in our family. There's something in that for everyone. I have a son in the military, as you know.
Yep.
And then I have a daughter who's in the service business that benefits from the tax on tips. So there's a lot of happy people in the Kane household when this thing gets
signed. And Steve, you got it. You've got a $6,000 tax deduction coming from Social Security.
Well, I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I know. That's in the big beautiful bill too. All right, you want to take some calls?
Yes.
All right, let's go. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello. Good morning.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yes.
IB in Broward.
Hey, IB.
Hey, Uncle Steve. How you feeling?
Good.
Nice to hear your voice live again. Long time. Steve, two things, Brian. Steve, I'm going to start with you first. Brian, wasn't it Blagojevich in Chicago, the guy who said, never let a good crisis go to waste?
That was Rahm Emanuel, Obama's
right.
first
Rahm
chief of staff.
Emanuel.
Yeah, Rahm Emanuel.
Right. Blagojevich went to jail for the other thing. I confused them.
Blagojevich, he went to jail and was on the Celebrity Apprentice as well. And wasn't he pardoned by the president? Didn't Trump pardon him?
No, I just confused him there. He's the one that came up with the statement, never let a good crisis go to waste. What Trump did, you remember, Trump always sits back. Remember, the man doesn't sleep. He always sits back in the wing and look at what the new narrative is going to be. So what he did was, knowing with all his skills, having pageants, the Apprentice, being on television shows all his life, he knows what's going on in the front of the camera, behind the camera. He knows the camera people. He knows how this goes. He is his own orchestra, like the guy who just passed away, and I won't mention his name, Reiner. But what he did was he orchestrated something from that would look bad, and he turned it around against them. I might sound like a Johnny come lately, but I like the fact that he used it immediately. So what's my point? We can go back to egg prices, due process, tariffs. We can go back to all these things that are the new talking points. What he did was put a nip in the bud of the affordability. Affordability is like Brian having his first car that didn't have an AM or a radio at all. It just was an AM radio. Brian couldn't get the brand new Mercedes because of affordability. You can afford what you can afford.
Thank you very much, You're blowing me over.
Okay. All right. Now I did find out. Okay, we were trying. By the way, you call maybe IB before I let you go. Maybe you know the answer. Okay. Because you call
I got
Steve.
one question though before you go.
Okay, all right. Well, that's the sign of a chronic. They always have one more thing before you let them go.
No, don't
I'm
start
supposed
with that.
to.
Don't start with that.
I am supposed to. No. That'll get you hung up on that. If you say that, that's.
It only works if you hang up.
You've got to hang up on. We are required when somebody says one more thing. we are required to disconnect the call at that point. That's an old thing.
It's an automatic disconnect.
Yes, it is. It is. There's one more thing. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Next thing you know, they're your co-host. You know, if you don't let them go, then there's always one more. There's always Rick from Rick and Suds. His name is Rick Riley, but I can't find out if he's dead or alive. So if anybody knows Rick from Rick and Suds, I know Suds died, but I don't know about Rick Riley. I can't find. He has no online footprint, Steve. None.
Unbelievable.
You're all over the place on the internet, but not Rick Riley. All right. I just one thing I saw today. This is an amazing thing. You know, Ford, they're stopping making electric cars. And
well, that's good,
isn't it? And you know what I realized? The electric car thing is really a fad. It's a fad, more than like a transition into something. And,
absolutely.
And I saw yesterday Elon Musk is back on Team Trump as an advisor.
Yep.
And
yes, he is.
I don't think he ever left. I think that President Trump and Elon Musk were running a gag.
You're not going to tell me that they were fooling us.
Yeah, it was another psyop. Because if you remember,
oh my God.
Well, no, I'm going to tell you. Trump's so.
Cash Patel was a psyop. Everybody was a psyop.
There's a lot of psyops going on, Steve. Multiple psyops. No, it'll make sense when I tell you. If you remember what the liberals were doing to Elon Musk, they were firebombing the Tesla dealerships.
Right.
And I think they staged that whole thing to stop the death and destruction that the liberals were bringing to Tesla and to save his company. And I think, you know, Elon Musk, the richest African American, he doesn't want Teslas to be mainstream. I don't think. I think he likes them to be a boutique vehicle, you know. And I think he's excited that there's this war that's put out. You know, these companies aren't making the electric vehicles anymore because there's really no market for it. And I don't think that bothers Elon Musk. I think he likes to have this special vehicle that people go out of their way to buy, and it's not for everyone, and everybody doesn't want it, but those who do, it's its own special thing. But I don't think he ever left Team Trump. I think he's always been with us, and I'm glad to know that he's officially and openly back, because right after in a couple weeks, right, you know, we're a week away from Christmas. You know, after New Year's Day is the midterm election season begins, and he's back on Team Trump just in time for that. And he did so much campaigning for us in Pennsylvania in particular. He's going to do a lot of. He'll be on the campaign trail this time around. He'll be doing rallies again, and I almost got to meet him when he was here working with Trump, and then something happened and it fell through. I was very disappointed, but I'd go to a rally to see Elon Musk in a heartbeat, even if Trump wasn't there. He's a big draw, and people love him, and that's an exciting thing. Now, speaking of Christmas, this is a great Christmas gift, guys. This offer from Sloman's Home Security. Listen to this. Sloman's Home Security is offering a free home security system with free professional installation, as well as 24/7 central station monitoring. You get all that for just $24.95 a month for 5 years. That's right, a free home security system and professional installation, absolutely free. Your Sloman's Home Security System includes a touchscreen keypad, 3-door window sensors, a motion detector, notifications, and remote keypad access, so you can check in no matter where you are, any time of the day or night. So give Sloman's a call. This makes a great Christmas gift for yourself in your own home with your family. But parents out there, this is a great $24.95 a month for 5 years. This is a great gift to give to your adult children outside the house, or get for your grandparents as well. Here's the number, 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. That's 833-283-5050. We'll be back with the Gold Report. All right, I'm going to put you on hold, and then I'll conference you with William when I get him. All right?
Okay.
All right, hold on. What do you guys think about my Elon Musk theory that he was always with Trump? What do you guys think?
Good morning.
Hey, it's Brian. We have just over a minute, so I'm gonna
Okay.
I'm gonna conference Steve in. Hold on one sec. Steve, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, William, we got you.
Yep.
Okay, we got 1 minute. We'll be back in 1 minute.
Okay.
All right, 30 seconds. All right, it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how are the metals looking today?
Metal's still looking amazing, Brian. The move higher on silver continues. Gold pulling back a tiny bit this morning, but poised to go even much higher. We've got gold trading in a range yesterday, $4,301 on the low, all the way up to $4,350. Closing out the day up $36 yesterday at $4,337.30. Silver was up $2.47, closing out the day at $66.15, a new record high. Platinum up $55 at $1,896, and palladium closed up $51 at $1,632. So all of the metals yesterday up dramatically, and the rally continues today for most of them. Silver or gold overnight getting down to about $4,314 and then coming back up. Right now, the high was $43.44 so far, but right now we're at $4,336, which is down $1.30. Silver up another 11 cents. We got down to about $65.50 overnight, but we're right back up now and at $66.25 the ounce. That's up another 11 cents. Platinum up $4 at $1,900. I think that's over $1,000 more than I had recommended it at earlier this year. And palladium up $31 at $1,663 the ounce. So the markets are still very firm and still looking poised for much higher prices as people continue to flood money into hard assets as opposed to paper assets and things that are pie in the sky, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
William, this is Steve here. How you doing? William was giving me after-hours reports yesterday. I've never seen anything like this. This is the most astounding run-up. That we've been together, 20 years? You've been a sponsor of the Steve Kane Show, and I've never seen the wild day like yesterday. Is this a new range we're in? I mean, is this going to be a permanent hike in metals prices in general, or is it something that's going to disappear as quick as it came?
No, this is something that's looking at long term. This is everything's changed. In years past, when we saw the run ups in 2011, 2008, and back in even 1980, those were all very temporary run ups due to economic conditions that were basically temporary. This is a catch up taking place in the metals as people once again recognize that the only real money for 5,000 years has been hard assets of silver and gold, and people are realizing that this fiat currency is not going to last. It just can't. They can't keep printing money, putting governments around the world in tremendous debt, and eventually the only thing that will hold up is these precious metals. Plus the fact that we've got an economy that is in such a state that is buying up metals because they recognize that, hey, there's some real use for gold and silver in AI technology. All these metals, platinum, palladium, are all going to be in desperate demand worldwide. And for the last few years, you've seen central banks just buying up gold like crazy because they have so much fiat currency from the different basket of currencies that they hold that they've got to have something that can protect them against the devaluation of these currencies. And gold is the only one that has done that for 5,000 years. Plus the fact that they can now put gold in their reserve currency basket at the full value of gold, which they could not do years ago. So they've switched. Central banks have switched from being net sellers of gold to net buyers of gold.
Let me ask you one a quick question here, William, before we go, because this is something we've talked about a lot in the past, but not in a long time. Can you tell people the importance of of course you can do transactions with William Youngerman over the phone and through the mail, no matter where you're located in the world. But can you tell people who either do a transaction over the phone and through the mail or come in person to your shop in Boca, why it's important to take physical possession of your metals?
Yeah, physical possession is one of the most important things that come into play with the precious metals. There have been many people who have, quote, supposedly stored or metals for people, and these people have disappeared.
Yes.
They've misused the metals. They have used the money and not stored the metals as they were supposed to. You've got to take possession of your precious metals, and that's the key to. That's one of the main reasons to own them in the first place.
Absolutely.
And I don't care whether you're thinking that you by owning an ETF or buying something and having it stored somewhere is going to be the answer. It is not. You have to have physical possession, and when you have physical possession, if some storm comes up in your life, you can take that physical possession, bring it into a place like William Youngerman Incorporated, and get instant money for that. And that's what's important. It's not stored away someplace. You hope that you can get it when you have in times of need.
And one last thing, because this is such a unique thing with William Youngerman that it is not this way everywhere in this industry. Can you tell people you will buy back anything that you sell?
That's absolutely correct. For some almost 60 years now, we've made a two-way market in all of the precious metals. And as members of the Professional Numismatist Guild and other organizations, we stand behind everything we sell, and everything is guaranteed that we will buy it back at whatever the market is at the time. So you can be assured of that. And
So listen, did you have anything else, Steve? Or we?
No, I mean, that answers the question. It looks like these good prices are here to stay for a while.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. You can stop in Boca on the first floor of the Bank of America building, immediately east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road in Boca. The address is 150 East Palmetto Park Road, or you can call 1-800-327-5010. 800-327-5010. and find both his phone number and address on his website, WilliamYoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll finish out the week tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day. Thank you.
All right, take care. I mean, I feel like that was a public service announcement we just did, Steve, more than just a reporter.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
You know, we're almost out of time, and I've got one more spot to do, but I wanted to just, I wanted to say one last thing on the radio stuff, okay, with you, because this is something that, you know, because I love radio, guys, and I don't get to talk about it too much. But, you know, we were talking, you know, I was talking about these legendary people that are all dead except you. You did something that that sparked this, the radio wars. And
that's correct.
No, and I love the radio wars were awesome. Do you want to tell people what they were? You want me to tell them? I mean, this was like one of the craziest things.
You tell them.
What you did, Steve, is you started ripping people on other radio stations, even if they were on up against you, right?
Right.
You know,
that was supposed to be a big no-no in radio. Never mentioned the competition.
No.
And I said, that's where the listeners are. They want to hear us fight and argue, and you're holding them back.
So you'd be listening to one station, and then that's how I I picked that up from you when I first started. So even when I was on the air, I would call shows on other radio stations and go after the host. And then and this would be on other radio stations. And this is when I was a board op. And I didn't even have a show. I was just a board op. And people would call, like listeners would call other radio stations. I learned this from you. Would call other radio stations about me. And sometimes I'd be, who's that guy? He's the board op for Steve Kane. And they're like, well, why are people calling me about a board op? But you know, and that was pretty cool.
That was great fun.
That's how I got on the air.
Days.
That's how I got. Yeah, they were. They could be that way again, but you know, radio.
I had another couple of lives.
Well, you and I are alive, and you know.
That's true.
There's still other people on the air. Their shows are dead, but they're on the air. You know, we could bring them back. We could bring them back. But no, but it got nasty. You know, it got really nasty between you and some of these people on other shows because, you know, you hear about this in movies and television. What do they call that, Stephen, acting the fourth wall? Like when you talk to the audience, right? You're not
the fourth wall.
Yeah, the fourth wall. And, you know, and you're not supposed to do that. And sometimes you'll still hear, like if somebody tells me about, oh, well, I'll always tell them, go to that, whatever station they mention, go over there. Listen, you'll be back home. You'll come back home. I'm not worried. You know, you can turn on these others. Go tune on Manny. Try to listen to Manny.
It created a very healthy market. Because everybody was interacting. It brought spontaneity back, which had been missing for a while.
Yeah.
And that's what people miss today.
Yeah.
The way we used to get involved. We got involved in some fights that were pretty bizarre.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I know. It was pretty bad, and people didn't like it. But that's how it was back then. Those
you and
were the days.
We were both good at that. We were good at that.
Well, you know, part of it is you got to be secure, and radio is the entertainment industry, and people in the entertainment industry are insecure, and if you're insecure with yourself, you don't like it. But as far as if someone's talking about me, at least I know that the topic they're discussing is interesting. So it doesn't bother me at all. You know what I mean? Just get my name right, Brian Craig. I want to tell, you know, this is the New Year's resolution period, right? And the biggest New Year's resolution is weight loss. And last year, it was January last year when I first met with Dr. Zuckerman at Coastal Weight Loss Secret. It was Inauguration Day. I met with Dr. Zuckerman at Coastal Weight Loss Secret, and then I came into Wings Plus. And the Monday after that is when I started. And you guys know I lost 25 pounds in 3 weeks. I lost over 35 pounds total. And, you know, the most common thing I get from people is I look younger. Then they tell me you've lost weight, but they tell me I look younger. And I've kept the weight off effortless. And, you know, listen, stop making these New Year's resolutions you're not gonna keep, all right? Make the resolution. You got to do two things. One, make that resolution to lose weight and then call Coastal Weight Loss Secret and schedule your no-charge consultation. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. 6300, and online, coastalweightlossecret.com. We only have a minute left, so we don't have time for any more calls, but tomorrow, by the way, is Friday. Tomorrow is open phones. We call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. You're welcome to call in about any and everything on your mind on Friday's show. And the show prep is up to you guys on Friday. I'll tell you this. I had a whole stack of stuff. I only got to one story today. The greatness of President Trump's trolling the media and with his beautiful speech last night. I didn't get to any of my show prep. None of it, just that one story. And I had about 10 to 15 stories to touch on today. But the show prep is up to you all on Friday's show. It is Open Phones, Open MAGA Mike Friday. On Friday's show, you can call in about any and everything on your mind. You don't even have to comment on the topics that Steve and I bring up. All right, this is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. Steve Kane, of course, has been here. My name is Brian Craig, and we'll see you tomorrow at 6 a.m. on Open Phones. And I promise you, by tomorrow, you're going to agree with me on the speech, Steve, because it's going to start to dawn on people real quick. All right, God bless Donald Trump. See you tomorrow, 6 a.m. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, Brian. This is the post show.
Hey.
We're just online now, but that's okay. Everybody on YouTube can hear you.
That's fine. It's not every day I can really really want to single out a sponsor of the show, but William Youngerman's presentation this morning was brilliant, and he did it like in 3-4 minutes, I guess, whatever it was. In my opinion, right on target, and how it's wonderful to have a resource like that in our community. But the update this morning was really, really right on target. I thought it was brilliant.
One of the things about William Youngman, then you can go on to your, you hear all these guys that are talking about, and they're always promising you that it's going to the moon. You get accurate reporting on the Gold Report. There's an emphasis on the report. It's a report. And it's an accurate, realistic, professional analysis, and and he is always spot on.
He's spot on, and you get his opinion first thing in the morning, which is really a big help. And I mean, in addition to all the news you present on the show, his presentation there on the metals market and that is really sensational.
So
but today's was really exceptional.
So what else is on your mind? You called about something else?
Well, talking about Elon Musk and that, and I really miss not seeing him on a day-to-day basis. But we talk about all these things coming up and how exciting next year is going to be in 26. How about the mission to Mars? We talk about the Olympics and the World Cup and all this. What about this mission to Mars that they have planned too that they're talking about?
When I was growing up, I was so into it. I watch rockets launch all the time. This wasn't a SpaceX, but I watched a rocket launch yesterday morning from another company right before I went on the air. It was around 5 a.m. I saw it was launching online, and I went out in my driveway and watched it because it was dark. Wow. At night is when it's cool. And I'm like, this is freaking amazing. That's a spaceship. It's going up in space, and I'm watching it from my house. But
well, this is unique.
The Mars mission, I don't know. I mean, what are the chances that they if you remember with Apollo, they didn't just go to land on the moon. They had They had 6 or 7, if you include Apollo 1, where everybody died on the launch pad. The Apollo that landed on the moon, what was that? What Apollo mission was that? What number? Does anyone remember?
I think it was was it 11 or 12 or something? I mean, it was,
so they had,
it was way up there.
They had about 10 missions, and a lot of times they just flew to the moon and back. Then they had to fly to the moon and practice the docking. Then they had to do this and they had to do that. There were, so I don't know if it seems risky to go to Mars. It's about a 6 to 9 month trip each way.
Yeah, I think it's extremely risky, but it's going to be something to really follow how this all plays out. I mean, I think this is going to capture the imagination of the American public.
Unless they don't make it. It's so
unless they don't
far.
Make it.
And we haven't sent anyone that far away in a long time. Everything we've done since Apollo has been just orbital.
Well, one of the things I've been reading lately is that the effect on the human body of going to Mars and coming back, it seems fairly drastic in that. So I'm very curious how they're going to work around all the things that are going to make it difficult to go than that. But to build a base there and to make it like a routine thing, this is going to be amazing.
You know, I'll tell you,
Elon Musk is going to be.
It would be amazing, but I don't know if I would want it to happen in Trump's I'll tell you, if it happened in his presidency, which I don't know if it's possible, it would happen towards the end. And and the chances are it's not going to be successful the first time. And I wouldn't want to end on a downer.
No. Well, he hasn't mentioned that there could be some fatalities here, and it's not. It seems like he wants to launch several ships to go to Mars and that. Elon Musk is really going to be challenged with this. If he can pull this off, it'll be amazing.
You have to have. I mean, to go to Mars, you have to have a life support system. It's six. It depends on what time of year they go. It's between 6 and 9 months. Each way. So,
and it's got to be in touch with the orbits out when Mars is closer and all that too.
And they have to go, and then they have to land. They have to be able to launch again off the planet's surface, and do all that and come back. The chances of doing that with the technology we have today successfully is slim.
I think so. Would you want to, if you get a free ride on? Would you go?
No, I wouldn't go in space.
I don't think so.
No way.
I think this may be. Maybe they bit off a little bit too much on this. I don't know, but it's going to be really something to watch.
But I'll tell you, William Shatner, guys, he went up on the Bezos penis rocket.
Yes.
And Bezos' rocket is shaped like a penis, and I don't think that's
it is.
And I think he did that on purpose.
Okay.
But
okay.
I'm obviously a big William Shatner fan, and he is historically a nasty person. I've spent time in private with William Shatner, and he always was nice to me. Oh,
wow, okay.
Yeah, but I've seen him get really nasty in person and he has
really?
He has a reputation.
Wow.
And I remember the second time I met him, he remembered my name. I almost peed my pants. I was so excited. But when he went to space, it's changed his life, And if you hear him talk, and it started from the moment he came back to Earth, and he still talks this way, and it's been a few years now. He said there's nothing there. It's dead. It's all black. He says you look into space, there's nothing, and you look down at Earth, and that's where everything is.
Everything is.
And I thought that was if you listen, he's a little more cerebral about it than that. But go and watch some interviews of him talking about it.
Yeah. Well, I just saw a picture of him the other day. I think he's 94 now or something.
Yeah.
For me, he's always Captain Kirk, the guy, going through space with Spock and everything. I mean, it was, great entertainment. Can I make one more point?
Yeah.
I don't want to take the whole thing. You're talking about, I grew up here in South Florida, and the radio personalities provided me with hours and hours of entertainment. I remember Neil Rogers on the air and everything, and we were spoiled, I think, down here because we had some really, really great guys. They almost felt like they were friends on the radio.
See, when I first got in radio. And I started work, and I got to know these guys and got to befriend them. And I don't know how I got so lucky, but these radio legends, Steve, of course, the most because he gave me my break. But I got to know all these guys, and they all mentored me. The ones I got to know a little bit. And,
oh my goodness!
And I was like,
Brian, could your time have been any better than that? Coming into the business with all these legends, I mean, they were so entertaining. They had a maximum amount of entertainment. They were really great.
Are you kidding me? And I remember you talk about Neil. Neil, he was on in middays 10 to 2, and they used to have those. How long have you lived in South Florida?
I'm a native.
Oh, native. Okay.
I'm 70, so I go way back.
Okay, so you remember those guys that used to sell the newspapers at all the intersections? The Sun Sentinels and the Herald?
Yeah.
They were at every intersection, and they all had boom boxes, and they all had Neil on.
Yeah. He was a I don't want to say a cult figure, but boy, he had a big following, and I always wanted to catch him during the day.
You
never knew what this guy was going to say.
Neil would sometimes call me. He would listen to me and call me and give me tips about what Steve used to do, okay, when I first started on the air doing a talk show like I'm doing now, okay?
Right, right.
Steve, his wife, you remember we mentioned about a week ago his ex-wife died?
Yes.
Okay. She lived in Orlando, and he has 3 daughters with her. And they were into soccer.
Wow.
And Steve, every Friday when he got off the air, would drive to Orlando for years to watch his girls play soccer in Orlando. And what Steve would,
my goodness.
And what Steve used to have me do is record I was on overnights then. He would have me record my show, the whole show, and on cassette tape, and he would listen to it on his drive to and from Orlando.
No
on the
kidding.
Weekends. And then on Mondays.
Oh my gosh.
And then on Mondays, when he would get off the air, he had notes. He'd go through the show with me and tell me what I was doing wrong and what I should do, and how I would handle callers. And,
gosh.
Yeah, it was like a college education I got from all those guys.
Well, where could you get that now, Brian? Where could you get that now?
From me, if I was doing it. People ask me all the time
that's
for help.
right. Yeah, yeah.
But and Steve got it from Joe Pine, right? And I'll tell you, and it would be very specific. Like it would be like, he would name a caller by name, and he'd say, okay, the guy said this and that, and this is how you handled it, and what I would have done was this, and I'm not going to give you the Colonel's secret recipe. But like one thing I used to do, and I still hear people do this sometimes, I would start the show with a song. I used to start my show with a song, and Steve said, it's talk radio. It's a beautiful song, but people want to hear you talk. Don't play music.
Yeah. Don't spin the records or anything.
No, exactly.
Well, Steve wasn't he a producer with Dick Cavett too?
He worked, yes.
Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So I got an Al Rentel. I got an education from these guys on how to do a talk show and how to do a radio show, and it's turned into a great career for me. But it's because I got to work with all these legendary people, and unfortunately, the radio market down here isn't that way because. What happened was we were talking about the radio wars where people talked about each other on other stations.
Right.
The radio station, like we have complete freedom at our radio station. Okay, we've got the person that owns and runs our radio station is an on-air talent and has been for decades in New York, and they're on the air now at other radio stations in the market. I'm not going to say which ones, but they're on the. So we've got management that's on-air talent, so it's different. They understand.
Wow.
They understand. You know what I mean?
Well, that's a big plus.
Yeah, it's like
that would be a big plus, wouldn't it?
It's like actors.
They know what it's like to do a show. They know what it's like to do a show on the air.
Exactly. Like actors like a director who's an actor because they can relate. But radio is very corporate, so they're called clusters now. Like one company will own 5 or more radio stations in a market. So when that first happened, they had this no talent, Grego. Do you remember Grego?
Yes, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, he sucked on the air. When they took Neil off the air on WIOD and they put Grego on. And Steve and I
WIOD, I remember that.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. And Steve and I were ripping on Grego. Well, it was owned by the same company that we did because he sucked. He had no business being on the air. And he was going on the air like, oh, I got the job, I replaced Neil. And we're like, this no talent is not replacing Neil, And you can't do that. You can't rip a guy on one of our own radio stations, And they don't let that happen anymore. The radio wars.
Being an on-air talent on a radio show requires a lot of sub-talents too. That you just don't find people with that multitude of talent. It's not. People think it's not easy to do a radio show, and
oh my gosh.
With all the
I've been here for 4 hours. I could talk for. Well, I talked to you about this once, and I really was. Those of you that listened to me back in those days, there's some people that remember that was a little different back then because I didn't know what the freak I was doing, and I was on the. And I said to Steve, I said, why'd you guys put me? He put me on the air. I didn't know. He said you had the raw talent. We just had to shape it. You know what I mean? But I was talking to someone the other day. I don't want to say who, but I was talking to someone about this the other day. When I was up at the radio station last Friday, and I was talking to somebody about this. When I was a board op, the only reason I got a job as a board op, I wanted to be on the air, and I knew as a board op, eventually somebody would not show up to work, and I'd end up on the air or something, and that's how I got.
Okay.
The new wave of people that work on the radio at like the board ops and stuff, they didn't grow up with these radio legends, and they're not.
Right.
You understand what I mean?
Right.
They don't.
Well,
no.
How hard was it to get a job as a board op to begin with? To even get your foot in the door.
I went to a broadcasting school, and I made a contact with a guy that worked at his name was Sean Casey, and he was a teacher at the broadcasting school, and he was on the air at Joy 107, which was 106.7 FM. It was 106.7 AM FM, 106.7, and they played adult contemporary music like Barry Manilow and stuff, and it was called Joy 107.
Yeah.
And
Barry Manilow, oh my goodness.
Yeah, and I made a couple contacts and got some jobs working for free. They called them internships. And I would get these internships as board ops at radio stations, and you can get those all over the place if you know what you're doing. Plus, but regardless, I miss those days.
Well, you were like one of the original apprentices for talk radio.
Well,
it's amazing.
That's why a lot of these guys that are out there now, they're even if they're super big that I rip on. See, they're not radio people. They're propagandists. Even many of them that are conservative, they're just there to push an agenda. And radio, I mean, listen, I've got my positions and everything else, but radio is an art. It's an art form. And sadly, that art form has been lost. Anyway, and I got to run, but take care.
Okay, Brian. Great talking to you.
All right, take care. I can talk about radio all day. Listen, if you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. And please take the link to the program and share on your socials if you don't mind. I really would appreciate that. That's my marketing team, you guys, okay? I can't do the Radio Wars anymore. But if you guys take, especially my mainstream, but whatever stream you take, if you take my videos, take the link and share it on your socials and invite the people that follow you to check out my program here, that would be great. You can join my Brian Craig Show marketing team. All right, my name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes